shopping je.
Mesti shopping pun boleh. Siap ada diskaun lagi.
ditelan air mata. Selamanya ku takkan di bawah perjalananku sampai ke puncak. Dalam perjuangan, bila hati terang menyala, setiap duka jadi kekuatan, pengorbanan yang jauh ujungnya. Sudah tiba masanya melangkah takdir, jalan yang gentir ku tempuh. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia.
so we never gon' fade. This that definition of a legend. Every single move that I make, fearless ain't no doubt. Dorang kena aku, I'm a winner. Cuba check gerak-geri aku semua tiptoe macam ballerina. Genggam bara api, biasa berjadi arang. Mimpiku mula menjadi, tiada siapa je yang halang. Kalau bikin hari-hari, benda susah jadi senang. Segala cabaran aku ready, masa depan aku terang.
Tiba masanya melangkah takdir jalan yang gentir ku tempuh. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia, Wira Arena. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kerana di hujung cerita, pastinya kita Wira Arena. Kita Wira Arena. Kita Wira Arena.
Satu hati, satu jiwa, bangkit bersama kita Wira Arena. Dari bayang kenyala api, nama kita terpahat di bumi.
Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia, Wira Arena. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kerana di hujung cerita, pastinya kita Wira Arena. Kita Wira Arena. Kita Wira Arena. Adakah takdir lemas ditelan air mata? Selamanya ku takkan di bawah perjalananku sampai ke puncak. Dalam perjuangan, bila hati terang menyala, setiap luka jadi kekuatan. Pengorbanan yang jauh ujungnya. Sudah tiba masanya melangkah takdir jalan yang gentir ku tempuh. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia, Wira Arena. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kerana di hujung cerita, pastinya kita Wira Arena. Kita Wira Arena.
MPL Malaysia Season 17 is powered by Moonton. Presented by Celcom DG. Power up now with Celcom DG Prepaid 5G. Climb to mythical immortal with unlimited 5G power, uncapped hyperspeed, and endless entertainment. Celcom DG Prepaid 5G. Limitless. Made for Gen Now.
Bloop, 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 bloop. What's that sound? Feels like something is flowing. It's the Infinix GT50 Pro, powered by HydroFlow liquid cooling. No lag, just smooth gameplay. 144 FPS, pressure sense GT trigger, fast and responsive. For MLBB players, this one's for you. Get it now at Infinix official store and TikTok shop, Infinix Malaysia.
So, food delivery, Grab. Definitely focused when full. When people is hungry, they lose focus. Then, they will have bad aim and bad performance during the game time. Hence, order from GrabFood to stay focused. Cultured by Todak.
Get your official MPL Malaysia merchandise at the Todak booth or online at store.todak.com. MPL Malaysia is now cultured by Todak, empowering the next generation through Todak Academy and its industry-focused TVET and STEM education programs.
Official motorcycle partner, Yamaha. Official content partner, Media Prima. Official streaming partner, Tauntaun.
Our strategic partner, Ferry, TNT Co., Obspot, PSM.
Supported by KBS, ESI, Rakan Muda, MESF.
Bersiaran langsung dari MPL Arena Stadium Juara. Kita kini sudah pun tiba di Grand Final MPL Malaysia musim yang ke-17. Penonton sudah pun bersedia. Siapa bakal menjadi juara? Malam ini bukan sekadar tentang kemenangan. Malam ini merangkumi perjalanan, pengorbanan dan impian yang membawa seseorang dari titik permulaan hingga ke pentas yang terbesar. Nama saya Poji dan saya bersama dengan dua wanita luar biasa yang telah membuktikan bahawa impian mampu menjadi realiti. Seorang legenda yang suaranya telah mengiringi perjalanan jutaan rakyat Malaysia, Ella. Dan seorang yang telah mengharumkan nama negara di arena antarabangsa, Fariha Razak. Apa khabar? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, khabar baik.
Nervous bila saya berada dengan dua orang yang sungguh ikonik bersebelahan dengan saya. Jadi mari kita dengarkan sedikit sebanyak daripada mereka. Baik, jadi untuk Fariha dan juga Kak Ella, bila mendengar frasa Celcom DG Dream Stage, apa makna yang pertama sekali paling dekat hati bila dengar dengan statement tu?
Kalau untuk dream stage tu, of course lah kita rasa yang kejayaan yang kita dah capai, berada di tempat yang kita inginkan selama ni, impian daripada kecil mungkin. But to me personally, bukan pasal kejayaan itu saja, tapi disebabkan impian yang kita dah letakkan daripada dulu lagi. The journey itself, apa yang you dah buat, pengorbanan, sacrifices, segala hard work yang you dah letakkan. Apa-apa je lah, dalam apa-apa pun yang you nak buat dalam hidup you, and you tak pernah give up, and finally you are here, berada dekat dream stage.
Pentas impian.
Pentas impian itu.
Jadi untuk Kak Ella macam mana?
Pada saya, bila you dah start sesuatu yang you minat, you cuba fokus dan teruskan. Sebab you tak tahu benda tu akan jadi apa. Dan jangan selalu assume benda tu you tak boleh buat. Just go for it.
Set a goal.
Yeah. Goal yang pure tau. Okay.
Alright, jadi Ella, awak juga telah menginspirasikan jutaan, countless Malaysian dengan muzik, dengan lagu, dengan suara penuh bersemangat kan. Dan awak pula dengan sukan bola jaring. Jadi lepas mencapai begitu banyak orang kata pengalaman, kemenangan dan sebagainya, apa yang membuatkan impian tu terus hidup, tak pernah padam, tak pernah rasa aku nak give up? Ada tak rasa macam nak putus asa ke?
Tak ada.
Tak ada. Kenapa tak ada?
Minat.
Passion.
Sebenarnya passion tu membantu kita untuk meneruskan kita punya dream. InsyaAllah.
Okay.
Betul, saya setuju. Bila Kak Ella cakap pasal passion, lagi-lagi lah kita orang yang atlet, ada goals kita, ada mission kita yang kita nak capai. Selagi kita tak capai, kita tak boleh rasa macam aku dah try, contoh beberapa lama dah, tapi tak dapat juga.
Sebab kita belum rasa.
Betul.
Bila kita rasa,
kita kena rasa dulu, kita kena sampai dulu, barulah kita tahu macam mana perasaan tu bila you dah berjaya, you dah finally dah sampai dekat situ. So never ever give up. Never ever. You jatuh satu kali, you bangun dua kali. Jatuh tiga kali, you bangun 4 kali. Sampai you berada dekat tempat yang you nak.
Jangan peduli dengan sakit, teruskan. Buat sampai jadi.
Sakit bang kau ubat dulu. Lepas tu baru teruskan.
Alright. So benda ni bagi saya inspirasi sebab kita semua pernah rasa gagal, betul. Jadi untuk malam ini kita juga akan meraihkan impian yang menjadi kenyataan. Sebab bukan untuk saya je berada dengan dua orang yang cukup hebat di atas pentas ni, tapi ada pemain Malaysia juga yang akan bermain di MWI, di EWC dan juga untuk grand finalis kita yang juga memang antara yang dah mencuba sehabis baik. Ada juga yang akan pergi ke Asian Game kan. Jadi sebagai dua ikon Malaysia, apakah pesanan yang mungkin anda berdua boleh kongsi dengan pemain-pemain kita dan juga untuk anak-anak muda yang mungkin satu hari nanti bakal jadi pelapis kepada kita semua?
Okey, untuk kesemua atlet, my fellow athletes ataupun adik-adik saya yang akan berjuang bawa nama Malaysia, I've been there, I've done that. Saya tahu pressure macam mana untuk bawa nama Malaysia lagi-lagi di persada antarabangsa, and also like everyone will have high expectation towards every single one of you. Tapi apa pun, you kena ingat yang this is a privilege, pressure is a privilege. So bawa nama tu, bawa keberanian tu, you go into that stage, very big stage, and you bawa nama Malaysia. Apa yang ada di badge Malaysia dekat baju itu, pegang semangat itu, bawa spirit Malaysia. Semangat Malaysia tu dekat luar tunjukkan yang kita mampu, kita boleh.
Semangat Malaysia boleh?
Yes, semangat Malaysia boleh tu kena sentiasa ada dalam diri.
Untuk Kak Ella macam mana?
Untuk saya, you know what you want and just go for it, okay? Positif and semangat terus, okay?
Positive mental attitude. Alright, terima kasih untuk Fariha dan juga Kak Ella. Jadi kita teruskan agenda kita pada hari ini dengan aktiviti yang seterusnya, iaitu award ceremony. Tapi kita tak nampak lagi mana kita punya main host ni. Rose, mana Rose? Oh, Rose, hilang pula dia ni.
Hello Poji, I am here. And kepada semua dekat sana, this is Rose, your main host untuk Grand Finals MPL Malaysia musim ke-17. Kita nampak di mana Stadium Juara sekarang tengah full house. Mungkin kita boleh buat vibe check sedikit. Stadium Juara, are you ready?
Dia tak nak teman saya dekat atas ni tadi. Tapi hari ni saya tengok Rose cantik betul. Dengan dia pakai bold and beauty, dengan dia punya black dress. Oh my god, nampak sepadan dengan saya hari ni. Dia dah datang dah. Amboi Rose, cantik-cantik hari ni. Ada apa?
Hari ni kan Grand Finals. Biasanya Grand Finals kita kena all out sikit sebab kita takkan jumpa audience kita beberapa bulan. Ya, kita akan long distance relationship sikit lah.
LDR. Tapi kita ada lagi MSC.
Betul. Which is gonna start very very soon. Kepada semua orang yang nak jumpa Rose, jumpa kita punya wakil-wakil di Paris, jangan lupa untuk tonton. Tapi Poji, kita bukan di atas pentas ni untuk promote EWC. Kita actually nak continue kita punya awarding ceremony.
Hari ni ada lagi?
Of course hari ni ada lagi. Beberapa hari lepas ni kita pun sudah bagi award Best Dream Team. Kita pun ada Best Coach. Kita sudah ada Rising Star Regular Season MVP. Tapi hari ni kita akan sampaikan dua lagi award, iaitu Talent of the Season dan juga Gameplay of the Season.
Wow. Talent, gameplay. Kalau talent, kita-kita je.
Kita-kita je lah.
Kalau gameplay, yang mana paling best?
Betul, kita ada 8 minggu regular season kali ni.
Ada yang savage, ada yang maniac, ada yang wipeout, ada yang minion yang bagi end.
Tu pahit. Itu pahit. Tapi of course, untuk pemenang Talent of the Season, kini kita ingin menjemput Mr. Iqmal Farid, Group Chief Marketing Officer Todak Holding Setirian Berhad untuk mengumumkan dan menyampaikan anugerah kepada pemenang kita.
Okay, Talent of the Season and the winner Talent of the Season award is Riz Pew Pew.
Yeay, kitchen kita menang! Terima kasih kepada Mr. Iqmal Farid for passing the award. And of course, Riz, congratulations.
Tolong mic dia jengkit,
Tolong mic dia sikit, please. Tak sampai. Alright, let's go, Riz.
Hai, Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Hari ni saya ambil award tanpa ibu ayah saya. Tanpa ibu ayah saya tak ada kat sini. Untuk senior talent saya semua, terima kasih. Sebab tak pernah berhenti bagi sokongan kat saya. Tak pernah berhenti tunjuk ajar juga. Very thankful. I have a very good seniors. Terima kasih sangat. And untuk semua Clippers, semua supporters MPL MY, harap korang terus support MPL MY juga. And untuk orang yang start daripada season 12, paksa saya masuk MPL MY, thank you. Awak akan sesa dalam hati saya. Amin. Thank you.
Oh, nak nangis lah.
Terima kasih Riz. Tapi nanti kita manja-manjalah dengan dia kat dalam tu. Tapi sekarang kita nak beralih terus ke dalam Gameplay of the Season Award. Jadi ada banyak gameplay yang di luar kotak, banyak yang di luar jangkaan. Tapi untuk menyampaikan benda ini, kita menjemput Mr. Dinesh Sanjay, Head of Experiential Marketing and Sponsorship Celcom DG untuk naik ke atas pentas. Dipersilakan.
And the winner of Gameplay of the Season goes to...
Sekejap. Encik VIP, sekejap. Kita ada benda yang lagi best. Kita nak bagi orang faham kenapa benda tu layak jadi Gameplay of the Season. Kita nak tunjuk video tu.
Mari
biar orang
kita
faham
tengok video.
Sekarang baru kita boleh faham mana satu gameplay yang terbaik. Jadi kita minta untuk VIP kita umumkan nama pemenang. Dipersilakan. Tak maaf tunggu lama.
And the winner of Gameplay of the Season goes to Siska from Team Ray.
Alright. Terima kasih kepada VIP kita dan sekarang kita menjemput Siska untuk memberikan ucapan ke atas kemenangan beliau sebentar tadi. Dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum semua. First kali saya nak cakap Alhamdulillah, bersyukur sebab menang award ni. Dan saya nak cakap juga terima kasih kepada semua orang yang dah vote saya, especially budaya saya yang sentiasa mendoakan saya. Dan tak lupa juga kepada teammate saya, coaching staff dan manajemen yang banyak mengajar saya. Dan insyaAllah saya akan buat yang terbaik dekat Asian Games nanti. Okay,
Terima kasih Siska. Thank you very much. And of course, tahniah sekali lagi. Poji, nampaknya kita punya awarding ceremony untuk musim ini sudah pun selesai. And kita pun ada more exciting things today.
Oh ya ke? Apa yang ada?
Of course adalah, nantilah kan kita nanti akan nyanyi-nyanyi lagi.
Oh, sebab adalah special. Tapi tak apa. Sementara kita nak buat persediaan untuk nyanyi-nyanyi macam Ros cakap tu, kita nak bagi sedikit hadiah istimewa kepada penonton yang berada di venue dan juga di rumah untuk dapatkan Layla emote It's My Time sekarang. Boleh je scan QR ni terus masuk dekat dalam Mobile Legends nanti. Jangan lupa spam tapi tengok minion. Takut minion end base korang nanti.
Oi. Poji. Alright, Poji, I rasa it's time untuk pass kepada panel sedikit sebelum kita continue acara kita hari ini. With that, panel, throwing it to you guys.
After 8 weeks, 10 teams, 63 matches, it all comes down to this. One final day, one final battle upon the land of Dawn that will officially crown the first grand champion of MPL Malaysia in this brand new era. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the English broadcast today. I am joined by none other than Husky as well as Gideon. And once again, thank you very much to Cellcom DG. Make sure you guys power up now with Cellcom DG Prepaid 5G Power Pass. Go limitless with unlimited 5G power and uncapped hyper speed made for Gen now. It is thanks to them that all of this has been possible. And now we are only one step away from the finish line. Let's start by probing you guys a little bit. Gideon, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty excited after an introduction like that and knowing how many games that we've already gone through in these past 8 weeks. We finally get what could possibly be, just a taste of what an international could look like.
Yeah, this is the closest we are going to get to that spot, but I feel like, it's been a long time coming, and destiny sometimes writes itself.
As you guys see right now on the screen, this is what was happening in the stadium. Just a moment ago, we had a karaoke session with everyone on the venue. So if you guys aren't here, you guys kind of missed out a little bit, but at the same time, can't really blame you. The tickets sold out so fast. You can see how much fun the fans are having right here. It was a really great atmosphere. Were you guys watching?
I catch a bit of it, I have faith in our friends, Yeah, we got Mars, we got Riz, yeah, we got Poji. Pretty great.
All of which are great. I also think that at the very least, we're hoping at the very least that after all this excitement that we get like quality games. That's what I'm worried about,
Yes.
right? I'm worried about that we get teams that just are too stubborn to adapt. And hopefully this might not be the case. And we've seen in both scenarios what that looks like for SRG and as well as Vamos.
It's pretty clear at this point that we truly have our cream of the crop squads up here on the stage. A lot of questions were asked throughout the season. Who is going to be joining SRG up there, right? Because a lot of people already expected the Red Giants to return. But now we have our dream stage finale. Vamos, the brand new generation of this veteran organization, will be facing up against long-time rivals SRG to determine who will be the champions of the new era. Now, before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of why, just a very quick answer. Who do you guys think is coming out on top? Starting with Gideon.
Oh, man. Tough questions. Tough questions that we're going to kick things up. I'm going to say that SRG is going to take this.
Okay.
I still think that they have more polish and a lot more experience when it comes down to high-level gameplay. Something which Vamos, I don't know how many strats that they're going to have, but it feels like their hands are coming pretty open here.
Okay, how about you, Husky?
I feel the same. I think SRG is going to eventually take the grand finals. Obviously, I hope for Vamos to really give them a tough fight, you know, push them to the absolute limits. But when we talk about experience and who has really been at the highest level, SRG still has more of that than Vamos. But I want to see Vamos really test themselves here.
True, true. We can't really deny that the Red Giants have just been such a pillar of MPL Malaysia for such a long time. One of the biggest fan bases as well, as we saw from the little parade they had set up coming into the stadium earlier. And now it is time to introduce our 4-time back-to-back champions looking for their 5th. We got the Selangor Red Giants consisting of Innocent, Humes, Stormy, Skies, and Cram.
Yeah, well, towards the later half of the second leg, a lot of teams didn't get the opportunity to face off SRG in their full form, right? They didn't get to test their limits. And Vamos is one of those teams. They clenched up SRG 2-0. I think that is a great achievement considering that they broke their 554 days win streak. But this is going to be the first and last time in the season that they get to face SRG when they're at the best.
That is true. And of course, Vamos have walked into the stadium with the support of their community, eager to dethrone the champions after such a long legacy. Vamos, consisting of Natko, Zkeef, Clawkun, Error 404, and Sapat.
Now, funny enough, Team Vamos, I mean, you're looking at the next generation of MLBB stars in the lineup amongst people who have been trying to reach those high heights. Sapadan as well as Clawkun, they've been on an international stage before. But Natko, Zkeef, and as well as Arrow 404 are looking for their opportunities to say, you know what? It is because of us that we qualified for this. And they want that piece of the pie if they can beat SRG.
Well, let's see what they had to say before the match began.
Banyak gila tu Team Ray wakil represent Malaysia tu. Aku rasa Team Ray the best team ever lah bro.
Yeah though.
What you think about that man?
Yeah though. Team Ray.
I agree.
Yeah though.
Yeah. I think so bro.
Yeah though.
Dia saja.
Yeah though. Ada well played bro.
Apa dia?
Mana? Well played bro.
Well played bro.
Well played bro. Well played bro. Well played bro.
Bang Isam je.
Shanks.
Kalau menang kau nak celebrate macam mana man?
Oi, menang tak celebrate ah. Menang aku nak peluk-peluk semua orang, nak cium bahu ah. Menang, peluk, cium bahu.
Selamat kembali bersama dengan Rose dan juga Poji. Risau betul dengan mic check tu? Dia lupa on mic. It's okay guys.
Oh, baru tukar bateri. Sorry. Saya nampak diorang macam happy sangat. Saya pun happy, lupa on.
Lupa on. Tapi guys, I know semua orang dah tak sabar untuk saksikan kita punya grand finale hari ini. Tetapi sebelum tu, Dewan ini mungkin ingin nak beri terima kasih and of course appreciation kepada tetamu istimewa yang hadir untuk menyaksikan perlawanan secara langsung. Kami daripada MPL Malaysia mengalu-alukan kehadiran yang berhormat Tuan Mordi, anak Bimol Timbalan Menteri Belia dan Sukan. Terima kasih YB kerana sudi hadir dan memberikan sokongan kepada arena e-sports tanah air.
Penonton dah pun ramai. Sampai ada YB yang datang terus. Tapi untuk kita menyempurnakan lagi majlis yang penuh dengan semangat kesukanan ni elok, kiranya kita mulakan dengan nyanyian lagu kebangsaan. Maka dengan itu, saya minta jasa baik untuk semua penonton yang hadir untuk berdiri bagi menghormati lagu negaraku. Terima kasih. Terima kasih kepada anda semua. Anda boleh dibenarkan untuk duduk semula. Bersemangat saya hari ini, Ros. Dan sekarang, Ros, sebenarnya kita dah ready nak mula. Tapi macam biasa, Ros, saya suka menyakitkan hati semua orang. Sebelum kita mula, kita ada agenda lain. Sebelum kita mula, ada agenda lain lagi. Untuk selepas ni, apa yang ada?
Kita banyak gerakan tambahan. Yes, betul. Itu adalah signature kita. Tapi Puji, mungkin Puji boleh cue code nak dengar suara crowd sebelum kita panggil dan start kita punya session lagu-lagu, nyanyi-nyanyi. Walk in.
Okey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Stadium Juara, make some noise!
Wow! Audience sudah pun ready. Nampaknya kita punya players yang akan walk in pun dah ready. Adakah singer kita dah ready? Double check sikit. Alright guys, so tanpa membuang masa, ayo kita ke Celcom DG Dream Stage untuk opening parade for our representatives, the Asian Games dan EWC.
Terjagaku dari tidur melangkah malas menuju jendela, kabus menyelubungi subuh, mengimbas segala kenangan yang lalu. Lautan luas telah ku renangi, segala onak ranjau yang berduri, tak kenal dan tak ku peduli, mencoba kecapi hingga tempuhi segala. Saat gemilang akan tiba, kan kita tercapai bersama. Bersama-sama tempuhi segala. Saat gemilang akan tiba, kan kita tercapai bersama. Bersama-sama tempuhi segala. Saat gemilang akan tiba, kan kita tercapai bersama. Kita Wira Arena, bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita tahun pentas dunia, Wira Arena, bangkit bersama kita juara, kepercayaan terdidik sejak mula tanpa berusaha, tanpa cuba melangkah tak ke mana. Di mana kau berada, pencapaian tak tiba dengan mudah. Kini standing in the eyes of the world, hanyalah selangkah dari nyata. Keazaman membadai jiwa, menanti saat bebas merdeka. Oh, tiba masa kau melangkah gagah, bersemangat ke arah matlamat sedaya upaya. Oh, engkau terunggul, wajah standing in the eyes of the world. Standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes. Come on, standing in the eyes, 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 standing in the eyes. Come on, everyone. Standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes of the world. Standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes, standing in the eyes of the world. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Impian yang disiram dengan peluh dan air mata di belakang tabir. Melangkah masuk ke musim ke-17, tanah pentoporan ini kembali digembur. Di mana ada impian, disitulah bermulanya perjuangan.
Dua gergasi, satu pentas Grand Final. Tarungan hidup dan mati, impian.
Perjalanan saya masih jauh. Setiap ahli kumpulan baru ditambah, setiap kemenangan kami membuka jalan baru untuk saya. Untuk Skies di Grand Final, saya harap apa yang dah ditulis di atas kertas itu jadi satu kenyataan.
Dua tahun lepas, saya belajar untuk tidak menyerah kalah. Hari ini bukan pasal legasi saya lagi. Uni ada dengan kami. Dan saya akan memastikan Uni sendiri yang akan berdiri di bawah hujan konfeti dan mengangkat trofi itu.
Kami tidak datang ke sini sekadar untuk bertanding. Tempat kedua adalah standard biasa, tapi pentas Grand Finals ini adalah destinasi mutlak kami. Mata kami dah dikunci pada pentas dunia.
Orang kata makin lama makin kurang kuasanya. Saya akan buktikan yang saya masih berbisa. Masa untuk saya menunjukkan Vamos bukan lagi King of Throw. Jaga-jaga semua, sempat datang untuk menyengat.
Siapakah yang akan menunaikan impian mereka?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's
attention stands the goal later on the team, the man who tries when the pressure is at its highest. Time and time again, he has delivered in the moments that matter most. The finisher, the clutch factor, Nanko! Next up is the rover, the guardian of the team. Fearless, but calculated. True sacrifices, setups, and game-changing plays. He powers the new generation every step of the way. The engine of Vamos, Ziki! At the center, Team Vamos stands their mid laner, calm under pressure and brilliant in execution. The magic, control, Clockhood! Only 17 years old, but already one of the brightest stars in the league. Blessed with incredible instincts, fearless decision-making, and game-winning mechanics. Here comes the boy wonder, the phenom, Error 404! From Season 7 to Season 17, through every challenge and every chapter, one thing has never changed, his energy. Fearless in battle and full of life, the spark plug of Team Vamos, Senpai! And finally, the masterminds who helped forge the new generation of Team Vamos. True belief and tactical excellence. They have driven the team's growth and now look to lead a team for their first MPL title. Valdo and Popbat! Introducing the reigning, defending, 4 crowns, 1 more for history, Salago Red Giant! Leading the dynasty is a marksman of Salago Red Giants, 5 Dream Team appearances, 3 regular season MVP, 2 final MVPs, half man, half beast, innocent! The newly crowned regular season MVP, the rover of the Red Giants. 6 MPL MY titles, countless iconic moments, and a legacy that continues to grow. This is the moment maker. With 6 Dream Team selections, regular season MVP, finals MVP, countless standout performances, control, damage, utility, playmaking, the man's prodigy, Stormy! Taking his place in the jungle is a player whose brilliance has dazzled fans for years. More composed, more refined, Salago Red Giants. This is your Sky Prince, Sakai! And completing the starting 5 is the unstoppable frontline on the team, a dominant force in the EXP lane, renowned for his consistency and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain, Crab! Behind every great dynasty stands great leadership, through years of triumph, adversity, and championship success, these two have guided the Salago Red Giants to regional dominance. It's Coach Arcadia and Ozora Becky.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The grand finalists of MPL Malaysia Season 17. Untuk menyempurnakan upacara pembukaan Grand Finals ini, kita menjemput semula Fariha Razak untuk memimpin sesi fist bump antara kedua-dua pasukan. As fierce as the rivalry may be, respect always comes first. Inilah nilai professionalism, mutual respect dan sportsmanship yang menjadi kebanggaan arena kompetitif Malaysia.
Sekarang tibalah masa yang ditunggu-tunggu. Perlawanan Grand Final. Vamos menentang SRG.
Poji, kita ada full house hari ini. And I truly believe kita punya audience boleh bagi semangat dekat players-players kita.
Saya minta satu stadium untuk bersorak dengan saya, boleh? Stadium Juara, make some noise!
I think we can do better. Stadium Juara, make some noise! Nampaknya Poji, audience sudah pun bersedia. Players are ready. The whole world is ready untuk mendapat tahu pasukan mana yang akan lift our championship trophy sekali lagi. Tanpa membuang masa, mari let's show it to our panel. And may the grand finals of the MPL Malaysia Season 17 begin!
Yesterday, we wrote the end of the chapter to determine our MSC representatives. And today, we shall close the book upon the first champion of the brand new era. SRG takes the stage as blue side for our very first game. And on the opposite end, Team Vamos is ready to take on our four-peat champions. Once again, you're here with the English desk, and I am very excited to get things going. Gideon, Husky, looking forward to a very good series today. You guys both think SRG is going to come out on top. Now it is time to explain why.
Now, we were talking about this beforehand. We were talking about what are the possible options we could see from SRG, considering what Cram was looking a little rusty in the beginning. Now they've kind of come back on form, but it feels like they're cooperating and trying to anti-draft. So here on that blue side, they won the coin flip. I think that it's going to be a pretty standard game for SRG.
Yeah, I think for game one, we probably won't see too much surprises. One of the things that we've been yearning for is if teams, coaches will adapt. But so far, we've seen only standard bans against a team like Vamos.
That is fair, that is fair. For now though, we got a quote from Natco saying that this is their best chance yet. After losing the IG in the upper bracket, we learned a lot about both ourselves and them. We realized that they're not very strong in the early game, and if we stay disciplined, we can prevent their comebacks. Against SRG, I think this season gives us the highest chance to win the championship title because I believe we have better momentum compared to them. But we will see, since they are top 3 in the world for a reason.
Third, if you want to be specific about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he said, right? That's the different
back
words.
third place, a bronze medalist in the in M Series. They did finish second in Ria last year, and they won in Ria 2 years ago. But just to be safe, top 3. It has a nice tone to it, right?
It does have a nice tone.
It sounds a little better.
It sounds a little better, but it feels good that at least now Malaysia is more secured in its spot amongst the top 3. And at the very least, SRG has been a really great representative. But I agree with Nako. Momentum is a huge part of this game. These are the outside factors that most people aren't really thinking about. Moods affect these teams. Momentum helps a lot, especially when they're younger.
Yeah, and we know that we have a very young player on Vamos on screen right now, Error404 himself. We got some notes from him in our MPL MY Insider asking, what do you hope for in the grand finals? And he said, I hope we can give them a good fight. SRG usually wins 3-0 or 4-0 in the playoffs, so I hope Vamos can at least get a few points.
And I believe they can. The last team that gave SRG a good fight in the grand finals was also Vamos, but the previous generation of Vamos. And they have one piece of that, right? Sapat joins them in that main roster, and with these other 4 new bloods that have proven time and time again that Vamos, they've rebranded, they're no longer looked at as the villain. They came in as the underdog, and right now, they're one of the top dogs. And if anything, I think SRG better not underestimate what Vamos has prepared.
I think we have to look at the draft right at the very beginning because we know a lot of the patterns because Vamos unfortunately had to play a good majority of their games going either full series or reverse sweeps here in the playoffs against SRG. Now that they don't have blue side, right, what are they going to do on red?
That is a very good question, and we've already been seeing trends kind of develop with the way that drafting has been going. Some teams, unfortunately, making weird choices throughout this playoffs, which has resulted in not the best performances, I think we can say the least. But these two teams have demonstrated excellence in that regard multiple times over. And we are about to jump in to have their mettle truly tested. The final day of MPL Malaysia Season 17 is upon us. And as we glimpse a moment into the future, we shall witness one of these two squads on stage lift that trophy for the first time in a brand new era. Let us jump into the draft for game number 1.
Let's also see what our random map draw is going to start looking like here. And it looks like we've been given Broken Walls as our very first map to kick things off.
I gotta say, Broken Walls, a fair playing field to start, because I was worried if we get Flying Cloud, Vamos has good stats. If we get Dangerous Grass, Vamos also has better stats than SRG. Broken Walls is where we really get to see how far Vamos will push this. We've seen throughout the regular season, Vamos is a team that plays incredibly fast. They draft lineups that can snap engage you, hit and run, something that has taken a lot of teams by surprise. IG, for example, yesterday had no solutions to deal with what Vamos had to bring to the table.
They've definitely refined the strategy that they are most well known for, and they're looking to bring it to bear right now on stage. We got a couple fun facts for you, ladies and gentlemen. For SRG, they preferred second pick in previous seasons, but they had an 88% first pick win rate in Season 17, having a much lower 53% on second pick. And for Vamos, we have an average of 1.7 lords per game, but Vamos holds the edge in turtle control, which makes a lot of sense considering that they are the more early game leaning squad.
We'll see how this game is going to play out because looking at the bans so far, the Guinevere makes a lot of sense, but the weird ones is like Kalia super early on a second ban, Paquito as a response from the side of Vamos. We get a free Phobius as the first pick. I get it from Vamos POV, given the Paquito is probably a no-go, but that we were all wondering what was the Phobius going to be, and I feel like Vamos feels comfortable dealing with it.
Yeah, I think we even went as far as to say that if SRG somehow gets on red side, which is going to happen inevitably, they also have the tendency to just let Phobius through and come up with a solution, which was what they showed against IG in that upper bracket finals. But here, the Guinevere, we also did mention that is almost a must ban against Vamos, but this gives Vamos a very standard opening. The Natco's Claw Kun's Drusid, and they're fantastic in dealing with Phobius.
It's been a while since we've seen Vamos go for such a safe starter here. They don't have their go-to pocket pick openings like the Paquito, like the Guinevere, and they are on red side, as you guys mentioned, so they're gonna start things off a little bit more blind. Don't show SRG what they're doing yet with the Claude and the Zusin. This way, they are going to have pretty solid late game scaling. I feel like heroes like Harif, though, are going to become a prio for SRG, right?
I'm thinking whether or not they want to start pinching on that Claude, right? At this position, you can go like Choharith and then force Claude into a position where you must take Purify, or you can kind of double down. And based on the bans, I'm thinking whether or not they are prioritizing the jungle or the gold lane, and it looks like they're just going to get both. They're going to say, you know what, who cares?
And it's also fair to mention that Marcel is still open, right? Marcel was a big answer from IG's end to deal with the Harif. And any sort of damage dealers that want to play in a controlled zone, Marcel shuts that down with the Golden Hour. Vamos, obviously the target towards basically 3 roamers from SRG's side, does give them the possibility of considering not just the Marcel, but you also have Khalid, Badang, some of ZQ's favorite picks still up. But if you want to challenge Yumes, I think that show has to come out.
Yeah, the Cho is something that both roamers play. In fact, Zkeef and Yumes share a lot of the same hero pool. Personally, I feel like we won't really see the Marcel, which is true. Ends up being a Hylos here, which is a little bit of a question mark.
Okay. I guess because...
Wow, SRG's draft is what I'd expect Vamos would go for.
That's the thing. I really thought that they would have flipped the script here a little bit, but it looks like Vamos has kind of pivoted the strategy just a little bit. Now they're going to say, you know what? If you're going to play for that Phobia strong lane, let's lean into Claude some more. We need to get immediate control over that mid lane, and we're going to say 50-50 on the jungle.
There is a possibility of this Hylos being flexed when you think about it. It's not something we've seen often, but it is one of the better EXP lane matchups against Phobias.
Yeah, it used to be a sandbag into Phobias, completely nullifies the lane, but Hylos hasn't been doing too well in the playoffs. He is currently 0-6. 0% win rate in the playoffs. And teams usually pick Hylos as a last resort, right? It just feels slightly weird when it comes out in third pick on red side, because that's where you get your best possible solution. So I think the possibility of a flex is there, but I wouldn't bank on it. I feel like I want Sapat to really set things up.
Yeah, but at the same time, we haven't seen Sapat actually go onto this Hylos ever. The only person so far in the league who actually goes Hylos into the Phobias is Lynch, and they've already been knocked out. I don't think that they're going to lean into that. I feel like maybe this could be a Uranus-type angle.
Uranus for Vamos?
For Vamos.
Wouldn't that mean that their damage is quite... well, non-existent?
I mean, they could go for Yishin Shin as their jungle if they want to scale.
I suppose so.
They also have the Suyo as, you know, like Era's, one of Era's signature here.
It could be risky, but it could work out, except it's not really what you'd expect from Vamos. They usually want to move very, very quickly, and while this lineup can facilitate that, it seems right now they are attempting to just hide what they're doing.
Okay, maybe I could be crazy about this, right? But this could heavily depend on whether or not they're trying to set up for like Arlet Fredrin. If they get Arlet Fredrin on their side, they've got Claude on their side as well, and Harith, yes, he scales, but he's not a carry. So you can buy a little bit more time if you cycle the people out.
Yeah, I mean, banning out the Lilia and the Yeef also helps protect that kind of lineup. So it is very possible. And this Suyo ban might just push Vamos closer to that angle.
But then we run into the same issue where if it is Arlet Fredrin, basically all of the damage comes from a Claude. Looks like they're going in a different direction though.
That's even better.
The even Lilia bans make sense for a bulky front line, so the Alice shows up.
And you have actually two bulky front lines to soak up the Harith damage. Like sure, Harith sort of 5-taps you at some point in the game, but these two heroes are very good at soaking up the damage, especially the Alice when she has her ultimate. So I can see Vamos trying to just run SRG out of gas and then strike back with the Claw.
Yeah, I mean, if Alice alongside with Harith come head-to-head, if both press their ults, unfortunately, Harith is going to be on the losing end of that trade for at least the first couple of minutes of the game. Now, Leomord at the same time can still be a problem, but who are you trying to catch on the side of Vamos? I feel like they kind of got Leomord covered already.
Yeah, you're starting to see signs of what Vamos wants to do here. They are a team that's well known for skirmish styles. They like heroes that can operate quite independently. And right now, all of them do so. But SRG, the Cho we mentioned comes out, but the Kimmy, which has not had the highest success rate, is still a prio.
It is a Sky Piercer carrier, so you can melt through tanks eventually, but I share your concerns, right? This YSS was called out by Gideon, you know, in the first half, and it's pretty good at dealing with the Kimmy and Harith, especially if Era starts getting a hit.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not going to like lean into the Arlet, since we see that it's Alex, it had to be just the damage dealing scaler. Either ways, I feel pretty alright with both drafts. I do think that Slung and Red Giants do work in situations where they have to kite backwards. And I think that's something that Vamos needs to keep in check. If they learn something from IG, it's about being disciplined. Hopefully it's enough.
That is true. Discipline going to be the name of the game right here. Both teams wanting to stick to their personal styles to etch the very first mark upon the scoreboard of our Season 17 Grand Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. We're in for a ride today. Starting things off with game number 1 in the Land of Dawn. It's going to be the Selangor Red Giants up against Team Vamos.
And Broken Walls will be on the map that we play on. SRG finds himself on the blue side with Vamos on red. Act 1 of the final chapter here. And let's see, I'm looking at the XP lane.
it's so many things right now. It's making sure that you can control that mid lane, and even as much as I want to believe that the EXP lane is going to make a huge impact, I think it's only later. For now, the laning phase should be pretty dead in the water.
We can already see that mid lane trades going to be going as per usual. Yums will scout out the jungle. He knows that Era 404 is on the top half of the map, so Sky should have priority over the Little Wanderer and will be able to secure it. I gotta ask you, Gideon, what are we looking at in terms of lane dynamics here?
In terms of lane dynamics, I'm expecting that Innocent should do a pretty okay job against Nako, but it looks like Nako is really taking advantage of this laning phase, which is great. It's great to see. He will eventually start building up into the lead. I don't know whether he will get the river crabs, but maybe if he gets some help coming in from his mid lane, that could be a possibility. Bottom side, nothing should happen. Essentially, Sakai's, because he showed up by Little Wanderer, this is very possible for Arrow 4-4.
All set up by Clockman and ZK, right? Setting up the freeze and chunking up both Stormy and Yums. You force their recall, and you are going to start allowing these Hylos to go for the invade, which is something that Vamos would love for. Now Arrow is almost a full level ahead of Sakai's.
And I like this a lot. I like the play coming in from Vamos. I like the fact that we're saying, hey, we just need to slow them down to take the Little Wanderer so that Arrow 4-4 can get his retreat back up for the right time. And that's exactly what they find, right? It's all these small little things to put Sakai's in a position where he can't hit higher levels quickly.
And look at this freeze. This freeze is extremely brutal. SRG have to brute force their way, trade their help just to free it up for Stormy, but Stormy is still a full level behind. So I'm not sure if they have what it takes to contest for this objective, considering that Clockwood has his Crimson Beacon. But SRG, they are not known to back down from a fight, and Vamos, they're gonna lose the putt down to 50% health. Crab in with the flicker as well on the Arrow 4-4, but the full connectivity. Crowd control is just too much. First blood for Vamos. The turtle does go over to SRG, so at least they get something.
They try to turn for the fight here, and now Vamos is trying to take something back at the very least, invading the jungle, stealing one of the side camps, and looking for a second one at the same time.
This is a Vamos specialty right here. This is the gameplay they've refined. The Purify going to be used as well to dodge Stormy, get out scot-free. We already knew this is what was going to happen in that early game, but what does SRG need to do about it?
They just have to accept it. Right now, especially since they did get chunked out, they've lost some pretty big objectives here. The early game is kind of done for, right? The laning phase is about mitigating the damage, and now you want to kind of respond to Vamos. Unfortunately for both Stormy and as well as Yums, unless Stormy has his max stacks and... Oh, hold on.
Oh, this kick. Let's see if he secures ZK, because Arrow 4-4 is in. He instantly just claps Stormy. And unfortunately, Sakai doesn't have a response there, so Vamos wins the trade.
Interesting. Felt a little bit unnecessary there from SRG. They were definitely trying to set up the kick for Skies, but it was a bit too late, and they should be well aware of YSS burst potential at this point.
Well, I mean, YSS, in the early game, it's hard to say, right? Especially since he does decide to take assassin emblems. Oh, he actually does have his Hunter Strike already complete. So with everything that has happened in these early stages of the game, yeah, he does have some real damage.
And somebody forced back as well as a bit of that foresight prevented a death. But Arrow 4-4, he's still hanging around. Let's see if Innocent's tendency can get him killed in that top lane. Arrow 4-4 is going to show himself. Innocent does have the Purify and the Zaman Frost. Instead goes on a 1v2 spree. And again, Innocent, always reliable.
Okay, 15 seconds left. After his Zaman Force had finally expired, I'm only going to assume that his ult is going to come back in about 20 seconds or so after the Lord actually spawns here. We'll see in just a little bit, but I don't think he's in any position to fight for this as well. It might be just a quick lane swap.
The question is whether or not SRG actually wants to contest this second turtle. It's pretty clear that Vamos are in a comfortable... Hold on.
Looking for Sapphire, gonna force his ulti out.
Okay.
That is some important resources that allows Vamos to frontline. And this could give SRG more leverage to walk up to the turtle.
Oh, okay. All right. So they chunk out. They get the big ult as well. Wait, hold on. Yums, please.
Oh, they drop the carpet. Here is ZK. Barbell traded in return. So guys will get the objective. And Cram makes it back to the bottom lane in time to prevent destruction from going. But Arrow 4-4 still cashes in on the entire plate.
I'm trying to figure out whether it would have been worth fighting him for the side of Vamos. Because at this point, right, doing a no contest on that turtle, not finding any picks whatsoever, and only just doubling down on making sure that Arrow 4-4 is strong, I'm not 100% sure. Because while that was all happening, Nako on the opposite side is actually starting to suffer some economical damage from Innocent and the rest of the Selangor Red Giant pressure.
I think a lot of it does come down to what Vamos wants to do with this in the next couple of minutes. Do they want to keep playing off of Error 404? Because if they do, hold on, Sky really wants that kill. Even forced out the glorious pathway. So SRG starting to up the tempo a little bit.
Yep, they were trying to force out the Purify, but they fished the Crimson Beacon, which is just as good. A revisit into the top lane, or a potential one from Arrow 4-4. But without the glorious pathway and Innocent still having the Purify, it's not going to be an easy angle to approach.
I mean, they're going to try, and of course, the crowd loves it, and every time that sheesh is going to be dropped down here in MY, but I think I'm starting to get the plan coming in from the side of Team Vamos, right? They want to get their scalers out early as soon as possible and slow down Innocent. I feel like it's an inevitability that the guys will eventually be a little too tanky to deal with, but up until that point, if they can put him behind in the early games, that's how they get these early advantages, and especially on Arrow 404, a lead that actually can stay.
Something that we have to recognize based on historical data is that it is not uncommon for the Red Giants to be behind in gold in the early game, especially if it's within the 2K, 3K max range. Right now, that net worth is very, very close. Would you think that Vamos maybe wasn't able to be aggressive enough?
Well, I mean, to be fair, with the two turtles that Selangor Red Giants managed to take, and notice that Vamos, they haven't been able to find these complete wipeouts. They get picks, but they don't get the wipeouts.
Yeah, Clockwood playing a very dangerous game there. They did trade the attraction pulse from Stormy, so that's something that Vamos can bank on. Clockwood still retains all of his spells, but Sapa is going to get zoned out by Crab. Yumes and Stormy shows up as well. Two-man Dark Wave, Crab just trying to play that bouncer role, and he's taking out a lot of damage. So Turtle down low, Clockwood disengages, and Yumes goes in for the kick. Another Dark Wave from Crab as it continues to just stagger the members of Vamos. YSS is down, and this is where SRG strikes the hardest. It's a double kill for the Sky Prince.
Ooh, that's the breakthrough point. That is the trade that SRG always looks for in the mid game. When this happens, instantly snowball resets, the game goes their way, and that was very oppressive positioning.
Hey, let's not forget that Nako also ended up getting solo killed on the opposite side of the map as well, coming in from Innocent. That should not have happened, and now Innocent is at a point in the game where let me just double check his items. He is a Holy Crystal away from getting to full items at this point.
Yep, and the top tier 1 also is going to blow up. And so that remain a catapult. So both sides tier 1 go down. SRG, just like that, technically got a 3K goal swing from one turtle fight.
And that's what I'm talking about. These big wipeouts is how you find these huge convergences. Oh!
Yep, converting on the Sapa. This should be a guaranteed kill. There really isn't any way out of that one. It's going to be crammed with cash out.
Things are going from bad to worse already. SRG knows how to accelerate once they get that initial lead. And Vamos, we know, is a very momentum-based team. They have late game scaling, but is it enough?
Echo also gets forced back. I mean, one thing that you did brought earlier on Sadafa is kind of the damage profile, right? Vamos relies a lot on Arrow 4-4 to do that. And that's why Crab is such a good bouncer as they keep on staggering the front lines of Vamos. ZKip has to use the carpet just to get out.
Still gotta make the attempt though, right? Again, it's just constant pressure from SRG on 2 lanes.
Oh, it's 1 second away from the
no!
to get it. He even used it right before he died.
So sad, so sad. It truly is a 0.5 second too late and 0.5 second too early moment where you're just hoping that it just falls in the right timing.
But I feel like even if he did get it like a 0.5 second earlier, I think he was dead regardless. There's just too much, and now they're going for more.
Yeah, ZKip is going to be dead as well. And unfortunately for Clockwood, he's forced to Crimson Beacon just to get out thanks to the traction pulse. Almost another 1K goalie going the way of SRG. And I think Vamos will have to admit this Lord. Arrow 4-4 will go on the split push.
Yep, they can't deal with this right now. The mid game is already coming around, and Skies is in a much better position than he was before. He's got damage items already with the War Axe on top of the Endless Battle, and yet we see this.
Yep, Arrow 4-4, he used Mountain Shocker and saw his death. And without the Traceless, they can't trace him either. It's killing spree for Innocent.
Yep. Again, great calls coming in from SRG side. They realized there was no contest. There's no point doubling down on multiple people. Sakai's got this. Let's just take everything else.
Yeah, Nako. That placing duet. Might be a panic button there.
Hey, better safe than sorry, you know?
I think so, but it definitely doesn't feel good to have to pop that, and not everyone sees no real reason for it to happen. SRG have figured out what Vamos is attempting to do, and they're just cutting off every avenue of escape. You want to split push? Nope. You want to farm? This jungle is ours, and they have the tools and the farm to do so.
Oh my goodness. Nakogi manages to get out of there just in time before the second half of the traction pulse, but this is not a great look for Vamos at this stage. They kind of want to be in the 30Ks by this point, and the fact that they're already 6K behind and can't walk out of their base is not a great look for the hyperscalers.
Yeah, the only person who had any amount of lead is now behind, and that was Arrow 404. 2 consecutive deaths earlier on definitely doesn't help his case. Lord gets cleared out, Boast gets sent down as well. They drop the carpet, but it's just a defensive means. There's no way to get onto SRG, and under 11 minutes, all the holy crystals have, all the holy defenses have gone down.
Before this series even started, a lot of us were discussing, we were thinking, hey, maybe Vamos has a good chance of taking game 1, since we've already seen this play out itself. SRG might take some time to warm up. That does not seem to have been the case.
Yep, they're coming up looking very good. Better yet, they want even more.
Wow, surprise. This is though.
They got everything.
Yeah, it's almost every key resource out of Vamos. Sure, there's gonna be no push from SRG, but they're slowly chipping away at the structures. And Arrow 4-4, he wants a flank angle. And I think Vamos, they're going to make the call to make something happen. That's going to be a kick though onto Era. He is so far from home. And the chase from SRG. Era still ends up getting away. But Cram, he's on the back line. He's on the Nako. Nako gets traded back. Mega kill for the captain. And ZKim, a second casualty. SRG still comes out with that win.
A great escape from Error 404, but they lose their goal laner in exchange, which is just not worth it. And now there's 4 members of SRG in the base.
And Cram once more with the flicker. Attraction pulse, brings Clokun back. He's got to purify out of that. Subfight holding the front, but the Salmon Force doesn't finish him off. Innocent willing to dance this all day along. And SRG finally makes the call to back off with half a minute on the Lord. Maybe not. Hold on. They still want more Sakai's. Can he get out of there with the barbell?
Punch him!
They don't have it. Clokun not in range. If Cram does go back, this should be where Cram falls. And finally, Vamos gets something in return. But Innocent still at the Salmon Force. Era 4-4 is in here. Comes through with the king. And Innocent delivering on a silver platter. Has a mega kill.
Oh, man. Cram was sitting there for a moment thinking, like, do I really need to save my jungler right now? Because he could have just let his jungler die and then just got back into the fight later on and maybe make something happen. But he understands his role. It's like, okay, it's not about me this time. Just take me first. We'll get the next Lord. We'll make it work after that.
Skies is going to be worth a little bit more money than Cram at this point. So it does make sense from a trade perspective. But SRG definitely didn't need to stay as long as they did in that one. Considering the network difference, though, doesn't really even make much of an impact. They get the Lord. They've got an 8,000 goal lead at 13 minutes. And while Vamos were able to find something there, you can tell they are starting to lose composure.
I don't think Vamos made the wrong decision. I just think that they didn't know when to stop it, right? They said, we want to, like, force the fight. Okay, but at how many do we stop at? Do we just 1 pick, 2 pick here? Like, what's the deal? And I think that Vamos really need to figure out what exactly those parameters are so they can maintain that discipline.
One of the challenges that Sapa did talk about Vamos is how once things start not going their way, it gets to them, right? And right now, SRG seems to be living rent-free in their head. Traction pulse onto Sapa, a kick, a follow-up, the stagger. Sapa can't even move. And with the Lord still pretty much healthy, Vamos will have a lot to deal with. That's 2 for Cram already. Innocent on a monster kill streak. There's no resistance for Vamos in game 1. And Salang or Red Giants lead the Grand Finals 1-0.
A systematic opening to the Grand Finals that bespeaks the experience of our 4-peat champions. No hesitation, perfect understanding of what their opponents want to achieve, and everything done to shut it down.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a probing draft here for the side of Vamos. They had some pretty interesting ideas in the draft, and even in the game you can see that there are scenarios which are heavily in their favor if executed right, and a lot of it just comes down to timing, right? If Sapat is too far forward and they force his ult out early, it's a loss immediately.
It's unfortunate that they weren't able to get that opening momentum. We know how important that can be for Vamos, and hopefully what you say is right. Hopefully this is a bit of a probing situation. They're testing the waters, seeing what form the Giants are in right now, because they're gonna have to lock in going forward.
Yeah, I will say that, you know, Vamos is really Nothing too odd about the grab. Maybe the high-lows pick was sort of like an oddball. But overall, they were making some smart decisions, right? They're not forcing things. They're making decent trades and understanding that Arrow 4-4 is going to carry them through that early in the mid-game. But it's once Arrow starts getting shut down at turtle fights, that's where we start to see the cracks. Because Natco is already not having a good time. Clockwork is also starting to suffer under pressure. He's getting his ult forced out. His Purify is getting poked at every single time. And if you remove Arrow from that equation, Vamos, we see them struggle.
Well, here's where I think it started to break down, right? Initially, the weird decision was, hey, you know what? Let's give full plating over to Air 404 rather than trying to set up for a potential gank down by EXP and then hopefully opening up the turtle pit. Because again, a lot of those turtle pits boil down to, does Cram by like 2 to 3 seconds in the back line while Supat is trying to make a play of his own? Like, moments like that is what's really frustrating for a lot of the Vamos players, especially if you are the jungler wanting to take the neutral objectives in the first place. I think what should have happened, Air 404, yes, look for those gold platings, attack gold lane first, move down to EXP later for the mid game.
But then when you have players like Yums just walking around the map, Cho is one of his signatures. It's a hero that severely outpaces the speed at which the high-lows can open up the map. And then he's getting these big kick setups as well, especially on that YSS. The funneling of the tower gold into Error 404 could have definitely worked, but that's why I mentioned it really depends on what they do with it next. And they couldn't really translate that into anything.
Yeah, and I think the third turtle fight, the fight that Error died the first time in this game, was a very big indicator of where Vamos was lacking, right? Just damage profile. They could not get through Cram, and Cram was just 1v4ing the entire time.
Yeah, I definitely think that Supat needed a little bit more oomph in his lane to get some control of it, especially when you're facing off against someone like Phobius, who almost immediately has impact as soon as he shows up. Alice doesn't have that same category. She shows up and you're kind of like, all right, what's happening? What's going on here?
It's like playing, you know, what do you call it? Red light stop, right?
Yeah, red light, green light. Exactly. Yeah. Literally Squid Games. But I think that if Vamos wants to go and play this style of, hey, let's go and particularly attack certain members in the draft. Let's force them into certain scenarios. Unfortunately, Natco's scenario of, I get caught into this Harith, I need to win the laning phase, he did not find that win in the laning phase.
Yeah, and that makes things even more difficult because Vamos is basically drafting around the idea of allowing Natco to handle himself and then just group around Error 404 to get that early game lead. If that is not working and then the Natco lane is not working, then you see the building blocks topple down very, very quickly. Innocent is just farming for free. Harif already naturally does a lot of damage. And then Yums is setting up with all of those assists just to continue feeding into the SRG machine. So Vamos no longer had control over mobility on the map.
And it goes back to the entire idea of Arcadia and Veki when they assembled this roster, right? Yep. Get strong side lanes, because sure, the mid lane was having a rough time thanks to the freeze made by Clockwork and Zeke, but with the side lanes in good shape, they only had to focus on getting that mid back into a neutral state, and then they just spill the influence to the side lanes.
And not to mention, like, even if you're a jungler and you saw what happened in that early stages of the game, like you get Lethal Wanderer, you lose your buff, you're still denied an opportunity to get to level 5 early on. In those situations, most junglers are just going to hyper farm the rest of the game. At least for SRG's side, and with the help of Yums giving that level of coverage, not on what Yishin Shin, of course, but at least protecting his jungle, he makes it back in the mid game after he gets with the War Axe. Because in most situations, jungles are like 2 levels down at this point.
I think a lot of people watching this are going to have some questions that they want to ask, right? Particularly about that mid-game transfer. Because early on in the highlights, we can see Vamos being quite aggressive. They're trying to invade, they're contesting objectives. But at a certain point, they kind of stop doing that. Is that because of a mistake from Vamos themselves, or is it just SRG denying entry?
No, it becomes SRG is actually legitimately too strong at 2 items, right? A lot of the heroes on the side from Salama Red Giants, you give them 2 items, they suddenly become a completely different hero. And on the opposite side, 2 items on some of the members from the side of Vamos is heavily dependent on, hey, I still need Natco or Arrow 404. Like, even Clockhood isn't enough to supplement that damage. And luckily, at least for like Yums' Cho, he's just getting kick after kick after kick. And by mid-game, once it's off of cooldown, he should let it rip.
Yep, and at one point, if his kick can take out a front line, that's sort of GG, right? Like, and just to add on to that, even for Vamos, in a situation we just saw the turtle fight where Arrow 4 goes down for the first time. Again, you remove him from the equation. SRG can just run at you because there's really nothing much the other three can do. Nako gets held hostage in his lane against Innocent. He leaves the lane. Innocent's going to break his turret and start joining fights. There's no win-win situation for Vamos.
I will give a special shout out over to Stormy because he makes the early mid-game way more salvageable, right? At least they're getting like 1 or 2 trades back. He's able to chunk people down enough to still be a threat.
We have the MVP highlights up on screen now of Yums, who of course played a stellar game this time around. Again, Cho is still one of his most comfortable pickups, and when there are multiple heroes with no Purify on the enemy side, it becomes a lot easier for him to do his job. Only the Zeusin and Claude were holding on to the battle spell, but Yums doesn't even need to be looking for them.
Yeah, those Purifies to Yums, they're just decorations, right? They're not the main target. The main target is actually this guy, Arrow 4-4.
Yeah, and even then, that was just the one time he was like, all right, I did everything right. He still got away. A little bit of frustration as expected from chill players, but I think at least for Vamos, this kind of tells the story of what they need to do, right? They need a very clear winning lane, whether in side lane, whether in the mid lane. They need something to play for rather than just the jungle, because it's just not enough, right, to attack on multiple fronts of SRG. You really have to kind of double down on something.
Okay, so simple question. Was this more of a draft issue or execution issue?
I think that this was more of an execution issue. I also think the in-game decisions started to go, you know when you're playing rock, paper, scissors, you know what the other guy's going to predict? So you predict one step ahead, but the other guy decides to reset and do the same thing. That's what basically happened, right? You're thinking too far when you don't have to, and worse yet, just purely focused on the breakers.
They basically overcooked, and that usually does not end up too well, but this is a familiar position for this organization. Like we pointed out before, the last time SRG had a challenge in the Grand Finals was in Season 14 against Vamos themselves. But it was basically a completely different lineup with the exception of Sapat. Now we have a new generation. They've gained the adoration of fans, the support of many, but can they actually break this dynasty?
I think they have a good chance, right? Again, the odds still are in SRG's favor. I'm looking at SRG to lift a 5th trophy by the end of tonight, but I want to see Vamos show some grit. I think this Grand Finals, beyond just who will lift the trophy, is who can give hope to the region when we head into Paris.
Hope is important. And you know what's even more important? Having the right device to play your games on, like the Infinix GT50 Pro, powered by HydroFlow liquid cooling. No lag, just smooth gameplay. 144 FPS, Pressure Sense GT trigger, fast and responsive. For MLBB players, that means this one's for you. Get in now at the Infinix official store and the TikTok shop, Infinix Malaysia. And if you don't really feel like playing MLBB right now on your Infinix phone, why not try out the MCGG Crew Clash that is starting from the 25th of May. You guys can join now to stand a chance to get part of the prize pool of $50,000 US. Don't forget to follow the official social media account of MCGG for more information.
Or you could do both, right? Get an Infinix phone and start doing the MCGG Clash Fest every single time. Just the easy way to do it. But that being said, though, we do have a bit of a call over with Rose. We're going to throw it over to her. So, Rose, what are you up to?
Terima kasih kepada kasih-kasih kita. Hey guys, this is Rose. Dan sekarang, Rose actually called my brother from another region. That is none other than Mirko daripada MPL ID. Hello, Mirko. How are you?
Welcome.
Welcome back.
I'm doing great.
I think we miss you here in MPL MY. That's why we had to call you again.
Hey, I miss MPL Malaysia as well. That stage looking hella good.
Yeah, we wish you were here, man. But you know what? Let's cut to the chase. What do you think about Game 1?
All right, I expected this series to go 4-0, but I was already very surprised by Game 1, seriously. I just didn't expect Vamos to go for a scaling composition though, right? Up against SRG, I thought they needed to go and utilize their strengths that they show the entire playoffs. Team fighting, early game, that should be it. I think they really gotta tune in back to that early game and back to the team fighting instead of trying to beat SRG at their own game, right? Scaling late and late game, mid to late. SRG are probably one of the best to do it in the world.
Marco, I want to ask you, if we look at the history of SRG in Malaysia, we know that they've been undefeated for the past 4 seasons. But if we look at our regular season, Vamos did manage to take them down with a 2-0. In your opinion, after watching Game 1, do you think Vamos has what it takes to actually bring down the reigning champions? Or, nah, you really think it's going to be a 4-0?
I'll be honest with you, I really don't think so. I think it's still going to be a 4-0. Maybe they squeak in one game, maybe 2 games, but if SRG play the way they did in Game 1 and they lock in, I really don't think there's a chance for Vamos here. Especially considering, yes, they did get a win in the regular season, but it was without Cram. They looked super clean with Cram. It almost seems like even in the other matches and playoffs, SRG were just experimenting here and there with the drafts, and in grand finals, they finally locked back in.
I agree. I'm pretty sure everybody is super duper happy to see Captain Cram back. Now, Marco, you mentioned that, you were not that happy with the draft that Vamos put up against SRG. So what do you think they actually have to fix? Maybe in terms of player-wise, composition, what is it?
I actually like the draft, but it just doesn't seem like a Vamos draft, right? So I think they just got to lean into their identity a bit more. They got to try to snatch away the Phovius. They got to try to snatch away the Harrod. These are the heroes that they shine on. It's all about winning the team fights, winning the neutral objective battles, and snowballing themselves. So if they can't do that, really, it's tough. It's already tough, even if they get those heroes. But if they go and play SRG's game, it's impossible.
I see. So from what I'm getting, you really think they should be playing their game instead of playing around SRG. Now, we know that throughout this season, SRG's roster barely changed, except for, of course, the addition of Uni this season. However, for the side of Vamos, we've seen rather new faces this season. But coming from you, who has been an MPL ID, and I'm pretty sure you've seen Natko and Klokun, how different is their performance here in MY and ID?
Not gonna lie, Natko and Klokun, they look exactly the same way I remember them, dude. Klokun and Natko has always been known for their team fighting, for their mechanics, for their confidence as well, their mentality. And it really reminds me with even Valdo there, his name was Strategy back in the day, Coach G. Dude, it really just seems like EVO Season 13 all over again. They just play for team fights, they go for these big plays, and that's what they've been finding success with. So that's why I want them to just lean into that. Don't try to play into anything else. Just be who you are.
Play like how you are supposed to play your game. You know what, Marco? It's so nice to have you talk to me and, of course, talk to us during this grand finals. Is there perhaps anything you want to say to your fans, to the MPL MY and MPL ID fans as well?
No, just tune into MPL ID next week, baby. We're gonna have some crazy games, and I think SRG 4-0, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco. It's so nice talking to you. I'll see you in Paris. Bye!
Hurry!
Alright guys, kita pun sudah bincang dengan Marco, and based on dia punya prediction, perlawanan ini akan habis dengan 4-0 but only time will tell. With that, mari let's right back to our panel untuk mulakan game kedua dalam perlawanan best of 7 ini.
Thank you very much to Rose and of course to Mirko for the insights right there. And Mirko seems to have a lot of faith that the Red Giants are going to be sweeping this once again. But he also brings up a good point about identity here. I feel like we've talked about this a lot throughout the season, how important it is for teams to stick to what they know. But for the regular layman, right? For people who are just thinking like, why can't you play the game however you want it? Like, how important is identity?
I think it's important because it defines how, not just how people see you, but defines what you are best at, right? And Vamos is really good at early game. I think they're the best team in early game, in fact, right? They are the only team that punishes SRG really hard at objective fights, which was why, I was pretty shocked when I saw them draft the way that they did in Game 1. I'm like, I thought that was an SRG draft. So hopefully, it was just a litmus test.
Perhaps. For now, we got a quote up on screen once again from Aziki. From DX Origins to EWC Paris. He said, by securing a spot in the Grand Finals and a place in the MSC main stage at EWC Paris, I feel like this is a truly dream come true. Especially since it all started during my time with DX Origins. With the prize pool we can potentially win at EWC Paris, I hope to ease my mother's burden by helping to clear any housing or card debts that we may have.
Wow, that's strong. That's strong conviction there coming in for a player, especially that young. I don't even think he's like that old. He's not like in his 30s or anything like that. So I can only imagine what he's trying to like. This is his entire world at this point.
I think he's the only person from like the DX the DX brand that has made it to EWC. You know? Shout out to DX.
I still remember them. Always a fun team to watch. For now, though, this is the future. And we've got brand new legacies holding up the stage. But one thing doesn't change. Innocent's stats are still insane. Over 700 average GPM, 7.3 KDA, and nearly 4,000 damage per minute. We already know his favorite heroes. He's been leaning towards Claude, towards the Harif. We know his playmaking ability on that Moskov as well. And we saw that Natko had difficulty playing that lane against him, despite having had a pretty stellar season himself. So going into the next game, it's pretty clear that these players need the right tools. And Vamos, they need to find that momentum, because this is a best of 7. They got plenty of time, but the more games slip away, the more difficult that step, that journey to the top is going to become. Ladies and gentlemen, let us go ahead and jump into drafting phase for game number 2.
All right, let's also figure out what map we're going to be on here so far. SRG now going to go on the red side, Vamos on the blue as first pick. Flying Clouds, however, a little unlucky, but still, the drafting is fast.
Yeah, right off the bat, the Marcel this time is going to be taken now as he was completely ignored, but Phobia's ban out. This could be a setup to that Paquito that Sepat loves. There is an answer that we saw from SRG and IG, which was the Freya in the XP lane or any sort of a hard crop control. But if you want to sandbag, Cram is perfect for it.
This last pick is going to be interesting. I am interested to see how SRG is going to figure this out, because Red side has always had this problem. Will always have this problem with giving the first most powerful pick over to your opponents on blue. So you need an answer to it in ways of sandbagging it, stop it from moving around, have some form of control. And for Paquito, without the phobias, everything else just doesn't feel as good. Oh, Freya instead.
Okay, so they do go one step ahead.
All right, I think that's a pretty good idea. We already said Freya has been used by teams as a way to deal with Paquito, so why not snap it up for yourself? It's very likely that SRG was expecting that Paquito first pick, but they're not afraid. They'll go ahead and grab the pack anyway, along with the Claude.
I think either way, whether Vamos takes the Paquito or Freya, the other one is going to go into SRG. There's no way to really go around that. But them removing Harif and taking Claude essentially secures sort of like your side lanes, right? Which was their strongest suit in game 1. But we want to see Vamos go a bit further and crank out the gas. Freya, the Suyo helps with that a lot.
Yep. Does mean that they have like predetermined what strong side is. Assuming that we don't know where Freya is going to go, either gold or EXP, but wherever it goes, you're playing towards that lane, right? She's able to push it out, she's able to find those trades, and if you want to break freezes and have an early game fighter, that's kind of the lane you want to show up in.
And it looks like they're going to supplement that with the carry as well, right off the bat. Both side lanes displayed, both going to be solid pickups, and of course, Natko gained infamy for this carry, picking it up over any other gold lane option that is still in the pool. This is how you can tell they're going back to basics. They're going back to what makes them good, and they're allowing their mid duo to stay a little bit more of a question mark.
But the thing is, they're doing it blind, right? They're kind of picking the carry into no tanks from the side of SRG, and this could mean that Cram could play Paquito as like a general assassin. Flicker on top of her, you don't have winsome nature, you're dead, right?
Yep.
I think that Vamos is trying to deter SRG from going into the Fredrin, because they can basically kind of set it up from this point onwards.
Well, can't stop the Harley though. Which is something that they also kind of brought up against IG, right? If you want to play big glass cannon damage, we're going to play hit and run.
And SRG are quite good at doing so. In fact, Skies right now still has a perfect 100% win rate on Harley across 6 games. A very strong record right now. And a lot of heroes that are not the most equipped to deal with it on the Vamos side.
I will admit that this graphic is telling us the stats like, yes, 6 games, 100% win rate. 2 of those games looked like he didn't know how to play Harley, and thank God his team was way better. But he recovered at the end. That's the only thing I'll give him for it.
Yeah, single-handedly keeping Harvey's win rate positive. Harvey's win rate positive, you know? Because a lot of other players have attempted to play Harley, and it generally did not end well.
Did not end great. Now the mid lanes are getting attacked. Valentina alongside Zushin going to get banned out for the second phase. Red 4 is looking super juicy here. I'm thinking whether or not they want to affect the gold lanes or whether they're going to double down and getting a support. Because I think it's going to be mid as their last pick from SRG.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've already seen just how much SRG can do with leaving Stormy's hero for last, since he has a very flexible hero pool still. And anytime you put him on a playmaker, he knows how to make things happen. So having a supporter here would make the most sense, especially with the Valentina ban. Usually those roamers are the ones with the big ultimates that you want to steal.
I think Vamos needs to ban out Zetian. I think there's a bit of a concern here that if they don't ban out Zetian, that SRG can just wombo combo targets.
That's fair.
That is true. And pretty hard for Carry and Freya to kind of fight freely too.
Not to mention, and arguably, oh man. Because if they don't have Flicker, you can't get away from that deadly magic.
And there's also the Yi that is still available for SRG.
You're right.
They're on 4th pick, right? Like, if I want to keep Yoom's hero for last, by all means, there is the window for that.
Based on the setup right now, though, I don't really feel like SRG is going to be leaning towards Eve, because that is still a bit more of a team fight setup, and right now they have a lot of skirmish. Doesn't mean they can't, it just doesn't feel like what they're leaning into right now. When you play a Harley, you will typically want to have mage heroes that can pair up well with it, so that's why you see heroes like Zetian or Gord being the prio.
Yeah, I don't think Gord is going to show up because there's nobody who can really kind of set for him, and that's what you need here. Somebody who kind of just puts the guy, well, just 1 second of stun, if not less. Even a mini stun is good enough just to set up the projectile into the gush. Either ways, I think that Vamos had a really difficult decision, right? Because no matter what, you're always going to be in a tight problem. Oh man, Atlas comes up into this even worse.
Good lord. I don't know how Nako is going to play around this. We've seen it done some incredible stuff.
He has no choice. He has to take Purify now.
He has to take Purify. I think even before that, the Purify... Okay, it wasn't mandatory, but now it is.
Now it is.
And without Flicker, I don't know, this Hardy, this pack...
I pray that your mid duo right now, right, that should get locked in for the side of Vamos is so strong that they shield you from the damage.
Yeah, you definitely cannot allow this Atlas to leave lane easily.
You go Valir?
Valir.
That doesn't feel good, right?
Does not really feel good right here. That's
the band-aid.
That's the genius of the combo, right? You have a hero that forces Flicker and a hero that forces Purify. So you have to pick your poison. Vamos will go for the Lillian and the Glue, which is a pretty solid mid duo at keeping people in lane. But now you have the problem of just not enough reliable CC to catch Harley or Claude.
I think this is just admission that Clawkun is genuinely scared. Because again, like, this is one of the scenarios where you can technically kind of like play what you want now that you have Glue on your side. But the real issue is like, hey, if he turns his head and decides to attack a different lane and attacks me, I don't have any defenses for that. So at least the Black Shoes gives you a way out of it, rather than just say, Valir, I help everybody. Lilia, I can be a bit more selfish.
I think it's the Atlas. The Atlas, sort of like the scare factor. Still the mid lane. It's gonna be the Farsa.
Wow. So good. Well played.
Oh god.
Oh.
Well played.
Looking at this now, this is actually terrifying. This is a really, really solid comp from SRG. Harley works very well with any sort of burst mage. Farsa is one of the classics, one of Stormy's signatures, and then their side lane prio is actually pretty strong as well.
Like, honestly, he could have gone for either Zetian or even Farsa here. Either or would have been perfectly fine. They've got the damage necessary, and at least with Farsa, it gives a secondary win condition to SRG. Now, if by any means you can get the Black Shoes out of pretty much anybody from mid lane, you can even get Freya to use her all early, just blow them up with the Feathered Airstrike.
Honestly, I don't know, like if Nako at least will go 0-3 this game with the setup that SRG has. It's going to be a tough one. I'm leaning to SRG's draft with just hit and run.
I think a lot of us are agreeing on that. So it's going to be up to Vamos to defy the predictions, to tell the world that, hey, their comp may look good, but ours is better. That secret weapon needs to show up in the land of Dawn as we jump in for game number 2. SRG currently 1 game up in our grand finals.
1 game up and 3 away from the 5 heat. Gonna be a flying cloud, so expect things to get a lot more faster in terms of tempo. And the mid lane prio, as expected, is gonna go over to SRG. This lane does provide some counterbalance to the oppression that SRG provides. So that's something that Vamos can bank on. They did have very good mid duo control from just the start of the season until now, and they've even outdone SRG in certain situations. and they need it even more so now.
I really like the plan that they have from Yumsen as well as Stormy. They understand that this mid 2v2 isn't exactly in their favor, especially early on. Later in the game, it's going to get a lot better, but for the meantime, it's about just clearing these waves. But they need Yums to connect.
Yep. Klakun, his Spirit Fire is already out. Klakun, can he get out of this one? Sakai's going to get the first blood, and ZK will have to trade for that. Sakai dies.
I don't understand. What was he purified? Did he mess up the timing on that? Well, yeah,
Maybe a little bit there. The panic showed up, but Error might be able to find something.
Well, they need a bit more. The arrow.
Get him.
Just by a sliver.
Unlucky.
That's a feels bad.
Unlucky. But at least now they have a little bit of pressure here, so Zekif can start walking into where Sakai's is. While that bottom side is going to be just fight. Just keep on fighting him, Nako. You got that.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get vision for Skies right now. They know he's hitting level 4 as well. This is going to be an important timing, but being aware of his position on map means that he's not likely to gank any lane too soon. The first turtle going to be up in 5 seconds. EXP still currently pretty 50-50 in this early stage, but I am worried that Vamos haven't been able to find the momentum that they like to play with.
Yeah, never found it. I haven't really found too much, but at the same time, I don't think this is a very contestable scenario.
Doesn't feel like it. Klakun. That's going to be Black Shoes out. And now for the airstrike, Stormy just commits to it. Klakun. That's out of range. ZK and Sapan now join the fight, but this Valkyrie's descent, another key resource out from Vamos. Cram is just going to play around the edges, wait out Sapan's ultimate as Yums shows up to disrupt Arrow 4-4. Sapan needs to hold the line. Cram and the rest of SRG show up. Arrow 4-4 does get the objective. They are going to lose Yums in the process. So Vamos walks away with something.
Do they really? I mean, Vamos didn't really need to come up and like try and take this turtle for all intents and purposes. They're looking for picks more than anything else. And you can tell because Arrow 4-4, he was not interested until SRG all of a sudden decided that Klakun was worth every penny of gold.
Yeah, I could see the nefariousness of this setup where like one person forces Black Shoes, then the other person finishes. But because they weren't able to do so and they spent their resources to try, Vamos had a lot more advantage since now Sapa can just jump in with vengeance and there's no way they're bursting him down. They tried to split their resources to get the turtle anyway, but Error kept his wits about him, and that's something that Vamos really needed.
Oh man, Sapa is losing his lane. Cram has had a significant advantage and now even gets a free proxy after forcing a recall off of Subbat. I mean, the gold lane has kind of been pretty dead even, actually. Let me just double check the gold. It is 2.1 to 2.1 as well. Yeah, dead even.
Not gonna be much action, at least from Vamos' side, but it's gonna be SRG again that pulls the trigger, this time on a Zekif. Zekif fingers on Sakai to stick onto him to keep himself alive. Sakai gets pulled back, but Cram gets on the back as well. Sakai ends up going down. Innocent is to the fight already though. Nako as well, the gold laners spring into action, but it's Vamos that comes out on the better end. Cram getting bumped out by Sapat, has to flicker to safety.
All right, time for the instant replay. Anybody want to see some parkour? What was that pull coming in from Zeke if he waited so long and now he gets another?
Maybe a bit deep.
Should die here.
I'd be surprised if he didn't.
I mean, they should get something off of this, right? He's buying so much time, right? Are we not getting anything off of this?
They got a proxy up top. Actually, not even a full proxy.
They don't even get plating for it. They did not get rewarded as much as they wanted to, but it's fine, whatever.
Also, Zekif had a shutdown. So,
he's 3-1.
That's actually not worth it at all.
That guy's got it, so he's right back in it.
Oh man, that's unlucky. Unlucky.
He's 3 levels behind Error, so that's now 2 levels. Error is so far ahead.
Nah, he's not getting any of these neutrals. Not with Suyo, not against Suyo. That Soul Sever does way too much.
Nako does a purify. They're gonna force Nako to commit, and yeah, he's dead.
He had no idea.
Good punish, Arrow 4-4. Do you get the prediction? It's gonna turn on the Stormy. Stormy trying to fly away. He gets out.
No Sky Piercer, right? Yeah, no Sky Piercer.
If I had a nickel for every time someone survived on 1H. Oh,
well, Sakai's is dead. It's good interception from Zekif.
I take it back. Arrow 4-4 does have Sky Piercer. It just didn't proc. Apparently it wasn't enough HP from Stormy to lose.
Well, he only just got the 1 stack, so it was basically a fresh Sky Piercer. I guess it was just a bit short. feels bad, but they get the punish, which is solid. But they also are losing EXP lane really, really hard here.
Wow, a revisit to the bottom lane. That's Natko who has to use everything already. And see if ZK can at least find Yums. He does have a and now he comes in with a counter engage. Innocent is doing some considerable amount of damage with Stormy free.
Wow!
It will take down Natko.
Dang! What a trade. Yums for Natko there. I'm rather surprised that Yums could actually take that much damage without having to kind of split the bodies apart to get the damage reduction, but it works out anyways because they had all the battle spells down. Both Purifies taken out early on into that fight, which then results in a 3-man pull.
And that was just a little bit of disrespect from Vamos. You forget that Atlas has a big ult. It's not something he ends up using a lot despite being meta, but that's supposed to be his main draw, and you're trying to chase him down with no Purify. So well played from Yums there, turns it around. Vamos still holding on to a slight gold lead, but that's not really in the heroes they need it on.
Yeah, but they also have entire side lane control. Like, it's not even...
Oh, can they get this tier 1? They will. That's gonna be fed an airstrike out from Stormy, but I mean, Krem is having the game of his life, man.
Yeah, he is. There's nothing to worry about because now they're looking for like as many picks as possible around this turtle.
So he shouldn't be able to contest this at all. So 3 out of 3 turtles for Team Vamos. And it's sort of just like game 1 where Vamos is sitting at a sub 2k goalie against SRG. And it's a position that SRG is very comfortable with, especially when, again, the side lanes are doing pretty well, except for the fact that Vamos did get the bot tier 1. But pretty small issue here.
Oh
no. Good, nicely played. He is so dead. If I use willing to die for this if he has to. Get stuck on by ZK. Kram is in, and ZK tries to hold the back line. Someone comes in with the Valkyrie's descent. Kram is going to be the target. But he's going to heal out with the left hook and a flicker away. Stormy helps to disengage. Kram back in for the knockout punch. They need a bit of damage. And Sky Piercer finally procs. Air 4-4 finds one, converts to the second. And Innocent forced the Lady Duet cancelled by Subban. Innocent flickers to safety, but Stormy not so lucky. Subban dies. Air 4-4. Oh! Misses the arrow. And it should be Innocent surviving this. Yums trying to hold him back. Arrow 4-4. Can he get more out of this? The arrow. Blazer's cooldown. Is it up?
This is a long exchange. But that is a lot of Sky Piercer stacks for Error 404. And despite the fight starting off so badly, Natko literally getting ambushed with nothing left. But SRG may have used too many resources on that one. Once their cooldowns are gone, the staying power of Vamos trumps out.
Oh, 50 stacks of Sky Piercer coming in for Arrow 4. Big time hero needs to hard carry this game. Or else Natko, he's going to try his best, but right now he's taking a lot of punishment, right? SRG at this stage, 3.2 behind, not the end of the world. Their next power spike probably is going to come in at 2 items, I would assume, that Stormy is on his way to. He's got the glowing wand, and it looks like he might even go for a lightning truncheon.
Glowing wand first item. I suppose that explains why the burst damage is not quite as high, but it is definitely an item that's needed when dealing with Glue and Freya. So it's an understandable build path. As you mentioned, probably needs that Lightning Truncheon before he can really become a threat to the squishier backliners. But SRT right now is focusing on this carry. Even if they are losing out on teamfight trades, Innocent is farming way better comparatively.
I see the macro aspect, right? 2 Lightning Truncheons already being... Oh, God. Yep. Guys, he just purchased it as well.
I think the whole plan is just to burst down the target as fast as possible. Vamos will get the Lord, so let's see how much advantage they can get out of this, right? They constrict the map against SRG, and it's going to be good news, especially when you have a Glue that can walk around the map.
Yeah, Kram opting to go for a different style of bruiser build, right? He's gone for the Hunter Strike, so he still has that early game damage, but he's also going for the Queen with Wings just to ensure that he could maybe clutch 1 or 2 moments. All the while making sure that he also has the steel plates just to make sure that he can survive the Suyo, but I don't think he can do that at this stage anymore, right? Not with like 50 stacks of Sky Piercer.
Yeah, not anymore. The Queen's Wings. Hold on.
Oh, they want to burst down ZK, and I think they have it. ZK, can he get it all off? Nope. Innocent on the killing spree. Kram able to disengage. Innocent to the back line. Solo kills Natko. Arrow 4 cannot find him. Perfect BMI out of the way. And Innocent makes the play.
Excellently played right there. Even the Black Shoes forced out from Clawkun. Sapat not going to be able to trade for the mid here too, so that is a total W for SRG, finding the angle, threading the needle especially. And this is what we mentioned about Innocent just farming way better than Nako right now. That 1v1, normally Carry should be able to handle it, but in those situations, Innocent getting out scot-free is not a good sign.
Well, I mean, let's look at how it actually occurs, right? Get rid of Zkip, look at Cram. He goes immediately towards Nako's side. If it wasn't for Arrow 404 blocking the second knockout punch, Nako had an obvious chance of dying solo to just Cram. The entire backline is a separate story because SRG, inevitably, their anchor is Stormy. Stormy is considered backline. Innocent and Cram have the opportunities to get into the fight, but that's only when they have Flicker. And notice, everybody has pretty similar Flicker timings.
It was a full commit from SRG. They knew they had to play faster than Vamos, which is not something a lot of teams can achieve, but they found it. Vamos had gotten a little too comfortable with playing around Zkip since every time he was engaged on, he could find a counter. This time, no. Everything went in, he went down. Cram had a free line of sight into the carry. And that's going to make things a little difficult. Even with this gold lead, there is no guarantee that Vamos can close this out because of Innocent.
Innocent has been doing a very good job at that. And I think at this stage, right, he should be on his way towards a Malefic gun. And it looks like, yes, he is. It looks like he's going to get Winds of Nature first, worried about Era 404.
See the impact of Cram. He's going for the War Axe next, I believe. Extra staying power in these
Looks like it, yeah.
They just spotted up. I step up very quickly, but nothing too much for Cram. Not sure if he saw Natko earlier on, but they did spot him clearing out that bottom wave. SRG will again reset the long lane as the Lord is spawning topside.
Yeah, I think they're going to force the fight the same way like they did before. Just look for that initial choke burst down, the initial targets, let two people jump for that backline. Whether it's Stormy plus Innocent or Cram plus Stormy or Innocent and Cram, either way works fine. And it's totally okay for Sakai's just to go and try and all-in somebody, right? That ult is on a short cooldown. It's about like roughly 30 seconds, but now with all the items that he has, the extra cooldowns, I'm guessing it's roughly 18.
Yeah, it's basically a poke/bait tool, and we can see even Zkip takes a lot from it. Hold on.
No steal there. Vamos easily gets away with the Lord. Yunes might be sacrificed here as he doesn't really have the flicker.
Good range.
Good stuff from Vamos. Get another kill into Era's pocket.
They know exactly how far they need to stand to avoid that fatal links.
It was good footsies, very good footsies from Vamos' side. Good show of mechanics, but at the same time, what are they going to lose from this, right? Are we going to miss the inhibitors? And hopefully it's bottom inhibitor.
Whoa! This is a punish. Again, it's Zkip. Great setup with a punish. Now, so guys, where do you go? Can't port back, but good iframes from Era 404 to get out of that.
That was a beautiful bait, honestly. Kalkun walking out and actually forcing Cram deeper into the bush. It would have been so easy for Zkip to just throw a poke out a little earlier since he's that close. But they made him think, hey, Kalkun's the only one here. Then the wombo combo comes through.
I think Zkip is also pretty tired of getting engaged upon every single time. But let's see how many inhibs they get.
Should be able to get this pop with the Lord now.
He's dead.
Down. 100% dead here. Another good commitment from Stormy.
Oh, what's the counterplay? Don't get hit by two lightning truncheons. And like, one of them wasn't even targeting him.
Cram is going to chase Arrow 404 to the edge of the earth. Now the spike. What a follow-up there. I just saw for Arrow 404 into a knife frame, but the Deadly Magic connects Arrow 404. Do you see if anything stands on you? Winter Crown to buy some time, but not in the eyes of Captain Cram. As the backline has already been dispatched, they lose Sapat off screen. Falco trying to run away, but gets cancelled thanks to the poker cards. And he doesn't have Black Shoes either. Cram back in again. The guy's in with the hat trick, and Cloudgood, he's going to be the next on the guillotine. He is dead, and SRG once more picking apart Vamos one by one.
This is ridiculous.
That's the captain right there.
The synergy is so crazy. I mean, they're putting down members who honestly, they could have just let Cram deal it by himself, but Sakai is willing to throw in the ult when he has Lightning Truncheon available.
And now you go for the solo engage on the Zkip. Zkip flickers onto Innocent, but he's staggering him so he can't get his ult off. And Sakai finds the kill. Nako again falls away from the fight, but he ends up burning to Stormy. Sapat is a Hail Mary attempt in the backline, but it's Sapat against Innocent that has been in this spot before. The result still the same as 2 years ago. SRG now staring down the barrel of Vamos' throat.
An instant reversal, though perhaps instant is not the correct word, considering how long that sequence extended. Starting from Cram literally chasing them all the way from the base into Dares, and then the instant collapse. Natco, unfortunately, this carry being hunted by the Farsa every single time. This is his signature pick. This is a hero that has carried games for him, but right now, he is basically a non-factor.
Yeah, that's why this Farsa, the Zitians, all of them would have been difficult to deal with just in general. And now that he doesn't have access to his flicker, he can't just suddenly appear in front of Stormy and one-shot him out of nowhere. He just has to wait for a mistake from SRG's side. And I don't think they're making too many mistakes anymore now that they've kind of like got the blood pumping, gotten the brawl comp going. Like even Vamos is getting lost in the sauce. Everything is going red for both sides.
Yeah, if Zeke can catch them without a flicker, then that would be the way back, right? Especially on the Innocent.
A shutdown on Innocent is just what Vamos really needs right now. They need to stop this Claude. He is 5-0. He is almost full build, halfway through the Rose Gold Meteor. But he doesn't really even need it. He's already done more than enough damage, especially with no carry on the opposite side to stop him. Vamos still has a chance, but he needs to be target numero uno. But at the same time, they're dancing through so much.
It's going to be a constant dance. Sapat will be forced to take that proxy deep in the base, but doesn't get to fully cut the wave. Conceal out from Yums to start the exploration. Area 4-4 spotted out already, and that is the cue sign for SRG to go blitz the Lord. Free objective, Zeke from the flank, but Innocent, he is in a good spot. They find him though, that's Zeke again trying to intercept Innocent, but they lose Natco already. Cram finds the kill, they trade Innocent back, Stormy with finger forward. Area 4-4 gets caught. The does jump on the Stormy and will dips down. So Vamos really trying to look for a way back, but losing Zeke in the process. 2 for 3.
Looks like they might still be chasing Sapat down as well. At the very least, not letting him go home easily. Cram and Skies do a lot of burst damage if he's not careful.
The Valkyrie slain, unstoppable for Cram. Kwakun does have the Purify and the Black Shield, but SRG are going to willingly do this dance. 10 seconds for Natco. Do they have what it takes? Cram is going to try and force something out. That's going to be Black Shields already, so Sakai will take point. Cram does end up going down thanks to the Crystal, and Sakai is to follow as well. The Lordo still around, but with Natco back, they should be able to fend up against this siege.
And they buy themselves another life with 2 missing inhibitors here. And now we're going into the late stages of the game. I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how they're going to open it up. Let's look at the instant replay one more time, because even in all of these fights, Kwakun is making sure that he is maintaining this tightrope of the Gloom, right? He is bringing back, stacking 1 Gloom and making it big just to ensure that he has the damage to start cutting through them.
Hero defense from Kwakun, honestly. 1v3 with the Lord. There are not a lot of heroes that can achieve that. And this is why the Lilia was picked up as well, to give him that second opportunity with the Black Shoes. We're now 18 minutes in. Nearly everyone is going to be full build. Sadly, with the exception of Natco, who's still having some trouble reaching that, but is getting there. And the net worth difference is basically evened up at this point. It could be anyone's game, since both sides don't have a lot of towers to work with.
Natco finally got his Rose Gold Meteor, but Innocent does have a Winter Crown right now. So even if Zeke sticks onto it, he has a way out.
They all have the right items at this point. All ready to burst, all ready to blow them up. Unfortunately, on the opposite side, I don't see enough defense coming in from the side of Team Vamos. Anybody running the Queen's Wings at this point is still going to get exploded. I think that at some point, maybe Zeke even needs to consider whether or not he needs to take an Athena shield to prevent the Thunderbelt damage. Sorry, the Lightning Thunder damage. Either ways, 35 seconds left until the next Lord spawn.
We've been talking about how Vamos needs to be aiming for Innocent, and they did actually manage to get the shutdown previously. But on the side of SRG, they may need to be giving Error 404 a bit more respect as well. They blow all of their resources into taking out Natco, which has been working, but this Suyo actually is still quite a big issue. I think Error has been playing a very good game so far.
I think if he can communicate with Sapat to kind of find the pinch onto this Farsa, maybe they got an opportunity. I don't know. Because when you look at like Vamos' comp, it's hard to say that they are a dive comp or a traditional front to back. They've got peeling tools, sure, but they also have dive tools at the same time. So the shape of the fight is always awkward.
Yeah, it's going to be another tough fight. Purifies up for both the cores. Long lane set up by Crab already, but bottom wave is going to eventually push out thanks to the super minions from SRG's side. Sukai is going to be spotted out by ZK, so that's good coverage from Vamos.
But half the river still does belong to SRG, so it still doesn't feel the most comfortable. Plus, you got Cram keeping Sapat at bay, and the Freya is actually a very big portion of Vamos' teamfight potential. He's a lot more important for them compared to the Pakido. Blokun gonna have to use Black Shoes early as well.
Yep. And Sakai just hunting for these picking. Now they turn ZK. ZK, ET's gonna explode right now. Take down Sakai, so arrow 4-4 again. The eye for opportunity, and Nako has just found Innocent. Innocent swaps with Immortality, but does flicker to disengage for now. SRG, do they have what it takes to come back into this game? As Sapat preoccupied with Cram, the Lord now getting split by Nako and arrow 404. No jungler for SRG. Means it's highly unlikely they get this objective. So Vamos might have just found another lifeline. Yums goes in, a Hail Mary, Clockwork getting gone on. 2 Immortalities popped, arrow 4-4, switches to the Winter Crown. Does SRG have more? Arrow 4-4, still outplays that! And that is what Vamos needs to get them back.
Dangerous, dangerous. That's what Skypiercer allows you to do, man. Gives you just enough, turns the tides around. And now we are dead even. Let's look at the instant replay one more time. Because again, the engagement onto ZK, they are doing the MO. But right there, where you see Arrow 4-4 decide to hop over the wall. And unfortunately, as ZK gets off, he gets knocked up. That honestly could have been a double kill had Arrow 4-4 got there a split second sooner.
But even so, still being able to maneuver out of a situation like this, switching items and finding the right skill trades. The young gun of Team Vamos showing why he is the face of the new generation. And now we are looking at a 3v3 base push, 4v3 actually. But the depth cooldown's not too long.
Oh, an arrow over-engages, overextends. They still have a Lord to deal with, no better airstrike. Innocent immediately forced back, but I don't think Vamos can end this. They will have to try though, they've committed everything. Yums holds the front, Nako does the job, Sapat will live on the crystal, and they might have what it takes. They take Sapat down, but the Lord still 10k health, knockout strike from Cram. Solamo Red Giants hold!
Oh my god.
Man, that was close.
The Cram CPR, fist against chest, keep this team's heart beating and pumping alive.
This guy's just died to a minion.
I know, they're willing to die to anything at this point. Apparently everything's dangerous.
But man, that's unfortunate. If Ever didn't die off of that initial attempted burst, I think Vamos could have ended here with that extra body. SRG able to fight back, able to hold against the Lord. They're pushing through now.
And they're pushing on to Nako. His life is their pleasure. Innocent doesn't even lose the immortality. Things going from bad to worse. Cram is going to willingly take the but why would you challenge this guy?
Why? When it hits the fan, it gets everywhere. And now Team Vamos is literally in bits and pieces. They had the even fight against SRG, but I think the Brawl comp, it's starting to get to them, right? Everybody literally is drunk on violence.
Nako tried to set up the ambush, succeeded in it, but perhaps ran in a kind of bad direction. And we can see that full build carry is actually doing a good job. Clockun challenged this because he still had Black Shoes, but the knockout strike doesn't allow the animation to play. So that was definitely a blunder, and unneeded one as well. But still, it's pretty even, 24 minutes in. Still could go either way.
Very, very silly from both of these. Both of our teams. They've made mistakes, but now they're trying to recover.
Yep, Stormy's going to be on house duty here.
Oh, this is good.
They won't have him. Yum still continues on the Sapat. Sapat forced to use the bench, but Innocent just man-fights him. Sapat, can he get out of this? Doesn't seem like it. This staggered death timers are really hurting Vamos.
Yep.
A minute without Sapat.
Yep, and they just have to keep doing this. They just have to keep on staggering them until they eventually get this Lord.
Arrow 4-4 in, but Stormy...
Oh, no!
He also knows how to set up an ambush, and Suckeyes gets Nako. All this while, Cram is just having fun slaying Patrick. Yums dies, but whatever. SRG still gets the Lord, and Clockcoin is going to be next on the list.
Vamos, Vamos. This is Vamosable indeed. It's gotten to their heads. They're making totally unnecessary misplays. Clockun gonna be found. Gonna be blasted down. Does have the winner crown, but I don't think he's holding this.
I mean, he changed the immortality, but the base is just gonna get targeted. They might not even want to go for ZK. And ZK, yeah, he gets the kill, but that's it. SRG. A longer game than game one. A bit scrappy, but they out-brawl the Brawl comp. And now they're halfway there to that 5th trophy.
I don't know. That definitely showed some weakness there from the side of SRG. You can definitely tell that they were like, yo, guys, we nearly threw that one, boys. Like, that was down. We had some fun times, but okay, we were on the cusp of losing there. And I think from Vamos' side, they shouldn't be disappointed about that because at least it goes to show, yo, you have a pretty good opportunity to beat SRG. Let's just stay disciplined. We may be the brawl comp, but we can also decide when it stops.
This was definitely supposed to be a Vamos victory. They just lost a bit of composure at the end and kept throwing bodies into the meat grinder when it was not necessary at all. You have more than enough resources to handle a Lord. Just go for the reset. SRG's experience trumps out in this case, and having heroes like the Claude that make up for a lot of mistakes is helpful. But this is a good step for Vamos. If they can fix up those issues, we could be looking at a potentially close grand finals.
They're getting tested really hard, especially Aero 404, right? Remember when he first debuted 2 seasons ago? Never tasted defeat until playoffs, and then they got swept. That was the first big heartbreak he had to go through. Sat on the bleachers for most of the season, last season, and now coming in as the clear superstar. Wins Vamos everything in Game 2, and then he just lost composure for an instance, and everything was thrown away.
Yeah, that's just the name of the game, unfortunately. Like, the game is supposed to be tight and compact, right? They want to accelerate things. That's why it's made for mobile in the first place. It's just that the rest of the team is also doing some weird stuff, right? SRG, I feel like they had like a couple of good ideas at probing, but our MVP here really made the difference. And on that Paquito, that one moment of, oh, yeah, proc Queen's Wings, go back up to 50% HP and one-shotting 2 guys in the back. That's when you know you've made a problem.
The captain played an important role this game. It would have ended a lot sooner if not for him, and some of the hero plays that were made, especially that base chase that completely reset the gold advantage that Vamos was playing with. Even though Paquito is supposed to have a slightly tougher time in lane against Freya, not a problem for Cram. He won lane, he continued to be an issue the entire time, even against a hyper-fed Suyo.
He actually bodies Sepat. Like, Sepat stood no chance in the lane. He's getting proxied. He loses his turret. And every single time a fight starts, you guys have pointed it out, Cram, he's not at the peel for his teammate. He's going straight for the back.
He wanted to do it. I think he definitely kind of opted to change his build a little bit, understanding that Zkeef was kind of out to get him. I think that's why he tried to optimize a little bit. Notice that at least Hunter Strike guaranteed was his first item that he was going to build into, but I do like the fact that he built half of the anti-cuirass just to deal with the Freya, cuts her attack damage almost by a quarter at this point, and now he's winning active trades in the lane. When he had that 2-level lead, it was over.
And we can literally see him twice here as the carry and the sandbag. 2 roles that don't typically overlap. But when Paquito is this strong in the hands of someone skilled enough, it can make things happen. And yet, Error 404, Rich Guy, really deserves a shout out this game. He was carrying Vamos on his back after Natko was disabled for basically the entire game.
Man, those young bones really put to work. He even gapped some guys in the jungle by like, what, 4 full levels.
Yeah.
Every single objective, man.
Every single one of them he was able to obtain. I don't know, man. It's just one of those fights where, again, that's why Atlas is so dangerous. It just takes one really good Fatal Links at the right time to completely turn the gold lead into their favor. And I mean, we see here, right at the, I'm just going to assume, guesstimate here, 14 to 13 minute mark is when we saw that big dip down and that awful fight that ended up in the SRG actually taking the lead and maintaining control.
That was the base push moment too, right? You look at everything. It was Vamos, towers, turrets, multi-kills, Lord, 2 Lords in fact.
Oh, 2 Lords. It still wasn't enough.
It was close. Like, they were literally on the crystal. They could taste it. Again, if Error had survived that, if his insta-gank on the Farsa worked, we would have a completely different result here. And I don't even blame him for going for it. Objectively, that is the correct play if it works. I will say I like that Vamos were still willing to be aggro. Take those risks. So don't play scared. A lot of teams have faltered because they were too reactive after things didn't go their way. I want to continue seeing this energy throughout the grand finals. Just clean it up a bit.
especially the extended ones. Like even this one had its moments where it's like, oh yeah, it all started off with Vamos finding an initial pick, and then SRG starts overheating and things start to get really, really weird. Like as we see both sides continue to get into it in these longer games, if it keeps on going into 20 minutes, by game 4 or 5, we're going to start seeing players yawn up on that stage.
And that's where, you know, it becomes a battle of attrition, right? Like, do decisions get hazy? Because we've seen Vamos when they face off against IG in the top 4 in the semifinals. Things definitely did get a bit hairy. We started seeing some mechanical blunders as the series progressed, and they had to play extremely long games. Now you add 2 more potential games on top of that. Vamos is again going to be tested like never before.
That's always going to be the final challenge for a lot of these squads once we get to the end of these seasons, because they're used to playing best of 3s. Some of them have experience in the best of 5 situations, but no team in MPL MY has the same experience SRG does with these extended series, and they are going to use that against you. We have here once again the MVP highlights from Captain Cram on the Paquito, and man really can just go wherever he wants because this hero is ridiculous.
Just playing Paquito like a Street Fighter, dude. He's running around the map.
I mean, look at him go, just punch, and all he has to do, the toughest mechanic is predicting the enemy flicker.
Dude, he's increasing APM by opening shop midway.
Yeah, like, I don't know how he does that.
Again,
it's not even necessary.
I don't think it was necessary either, but I think it's just so great just watching him just zip around the map, right? This is what Paquito was designed to do, and it feels good that he comes back in the meta in a pretty astounding way.
Funny enough, the last time they had to deal with Cram, it was also his Paquito, and the last iteration of Vamos also got devastated by a Cram Paquito in the grand finals.
Oh, there
some PTSD moments, you know?
Definitely some PTSD, but also they need to figure out a better way because it is clear that Cram kind of understands how that lane needs to be played. So therefore, it's either Sapat, you got to buckle up and win that lane even harder, or maybe invest some resources onto his side.
I think they need to find a way to give him his Paquito, honestly. Sabat plays a really good Paquito as well, right?
Personally, at some point, both of these teams are going to get rid of Paquito. I don't think it's going to show at a certain point. It just doesn't make sense that he gets away with so much.
I mean, yeah, Vamos did take a gamble, right? They were like, oh, you thought we'd take Paquito, we'll take Freya, we'll try to counter your lane.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
I mean, it could have. It was close to working out. It was honestly tanking a lot of damage for them.
I don't know. When you're 2 levels walking out of the lane, 2 levels down, like that, it shouldn't be that bad.
It shouldn't be, but somehow the Red Giants find a way, right?
Oh my lord.
This is a ridiculous screen, actually. This is kind of terrifying to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the audience if you don't read this every single word, but just know that it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Achievements.
I'm trying to pick out anything that's like a little like wild or out of the ordinary. No, Yums is ridiculous. I'm not even gonna bother looking at it.
You know what? Cram just needs a finals MVP. That's all I need. I've been saying it for 4 seasons, man. Give him the finals MVP.
How many times is he gonna get scammed? Right at the very end, they're like, okay, he's definitely gonna get it. And at Game 7, Innocent just pulls off another M6.
Yeah, and then he gets a savage.
You just look at that screen, man. It's so scary to see. These are literally the resumes you're competing with whenever you go for job interviews.
You know, whenever someone boots at the PC and the syntax start coming up, that's the graphic. That's basically what that was.
That's like when the hacker starts working on things and I'm in
the firewall.
What's all this text on the screen? I don't understand it.
Oh, too powerful.
But SRG, their accolades speak for themselves. Just like the current PCU milestone. We've broken a new milestone, everyone, thanks to you guys. We've broken Season 15, Season 12, and that means that we have another redemption code up on screen for you guys to redeem. This is a thank you for all of us joining us for MPL MY Season 17 and the finals. Don't go anywhere. There's still going to be plenty more action to look forward to.
Honestly, I think we should break Season 14 because it's also SRG Vamos. So they should break it.
That's the thing. I was wondering about the 14. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the same matchup.
So we need 6 games at least.
So we need...
Yes.
Oh.
It took us 6 games to get there.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be a long night.
I think we can get it. I think it's possible. All right?
I think we're also very hopeful. Hopefully people come in with some swag or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I think if you want some swag, we do have a Todak X MPL collaboration going on. They've got merchandise, right? In fact, Todak's got a booth right outside at the MPL MY arena that you guys can get some merch from, get some swag to show up at the grand finals with. So if you guys are here at the arena, go on over, visit them for more details. We also have a code that you guys can use online at the Todak store.
I heard that apparently that the fans from SRG side got together to say, hey, we're gonna dress up all in red. That's all they got. Hey, but we also got a little fun event happening up on the stage. Let's throw it over to find out what's going on.
Terima kasih rakan caster. Apa khabar semua? Ini kad paling mahal dekat sini. Tapi sekarang anda kembali ke segmen istimewa, itu challenge Abang Grab. Bukan dekat saya, ini Abang Grab kita. Ramai orang suka dia dekat track. Tapi untuk hari pertama kita tengok penonton menang. Hari yang kedua Abang Grab menang. Jadi untuk hari yang ketiga kita nak buat sesuatu yang lebih istimewa. Kita nak menjemput cosplayer yang datang lawan dengan Abang Grab ni. Mana cosplayer kita? Hai. Siapa nama?
Nama Butterfly.
Butterfly? Bukan Benedetta?
Sorry, nama Benedetta.
Alright, the challenge is quite simple. Kena main Fanny. Daripada mid pergi daripada your base pergi enemy punya base. And kita ada video contoh. Demo video boleh tengok dekat belakang. Dan itulah contohnya. The game is quite simple. Kalau you menang, semua audience dekat dalam dewan ni akan dapat kod istimewa. Sebab tu nama challenge dia. Beat the bro, grab the code. Tapi kalau Abang Grab kita yang menang, semua audience dekat rumah yang akan dapat. You ready? Dia macam tak ada mood dah. Lawan Abang Grab. Okay, Abang Grab nak mula dulu hari ni. Let's go. Aha, energi habis. Haha, mati. Haha. 14 saat. Okey. Untuk yang seterusnya, kita minta Benedetta kita cuba. Okey, you tunggu you respond. I kira 3, 2, 1, you jalan, okey? Ready. Dia shaking. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, laju. Wow. Wow. Saya tak payah cakap banyak dah. Ini sebab dia mati awal. Yang ni sampai dah dekat kristal musuh. Tanpa cakap macam-macam. Inilah dia pemenangnya, Benedetta, dan semua audiens yang hadir hari ini akan dapat kod istimewa yang tertera dekat belakang ni. Boleh claim Kari Skin Ice Talent. Boleh dapatlah kan istimewa. Jadi kepada anda yang berada di rumah, jemput-jemputlah kan. Tune in dan meramaikan lagi pandangan mata tu. Ataupun kalau rasa bosan, boleh je order Grab kan. Order je. Dan makan sambil tengok MPL. Selesai daripada saya, Abang Grab dan juga Benedetta kita. Terima kasih banyak. Jom kita kembali ke meja panel untuk enjoy game selanjutnya.
Well. After everything that has happened, a quick break, you can see immediately in the Vamos house, they're talking about it. They're like, man, how did we drop that game? We had everything. We were losing, and then we were winning. We need to focus on why we were winning more than we were losing.
This goes back to the entire team. I think one of the sub-themes of this matchup is that Vamos, throughout history, at their best, were the only team that has been able to give SRG the toughest fights. Right? We saw it at the start of this season as well. Sure, they went down 2-0 in leg 1, but they could have easily won 2-0 as well. It really came down to just one good play from SRG or one minor mistake, and we saw glimpses of that in game 2.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very possible, and that's why I said what I said, right? I want Vamos to have this same energy going into the next game. Do not switch things up just because it didn't work out, because this is where you are strongest. This is your most comfortable style. It nearly worked. You just have to fix up a little bit of that going forward. But we do have a quote from Juara as well about disrupting the rhythm. He said, if there's one thing you need to know about SRG, is that we have the ability to disrupt our opponent's tempo. We don't want them to play at their own rhythm. That means we constantly try to make plays that are hard for our opponents to read. They would need to rely on instinct, and that's when the game becomes messy.
God, I love it. Thank God Azoraveki has some banger quotes. This is like the innate definition of tempo breakers for anybody who's listening to English broadcasts and don't really understand what it means. Rhythm is important here because there's a lot of compositions that we see from both for SRG, but in particular Vamos, if they are playing around Natco, or let's take Bigatron for an example. They're the best example because they play around the president. One person, a similar strategy, they just have to peel backwards constantly, but if you catch them immediately after the fight, that's when you break their rhythm and they can't go back to regular rotations.
Yeah, funnily enough, it's also something that Vamos is really good at. Whether it's the first gen or the current gen, they're also really good at making off-tempo plays. That's what sort of got them the moniker of tempo breakers as well. They've taken down teams, like even SRG at certain points, with these kind of plays. But SRG, they're playing Vamos' game and they're winning at it. And I think that's the frustrating part, because Vamos tried to play SRG game and they didn't win.
Yeah, that's always going to be the tricky thing, unfortunately. When you are dealing with a team that has so much more experience than you just gotta stick to your own style. You're unfortunately never going to be able to truly beat them at their own level if the conditions are met. So going into this, Vamos has to learn what they've done from before, has to be able to fix all of that up, because they are able to play at a very high level. I personally feel like any team that wants to be able to compete internationally needs to be able to become tempo breakers. And they already have the first steps of that. Just keep that composure. Stick to what's familiar. And that should allow them to take a game off of the Giants and bring themselves forward in our grand finals.
All right, here in game number 3 here at the grand finals, expanding rivers is going to be the case. So if there was time to play for the early game, now sounds pretty good.
Yep, this was also the map that they completely dominated IG yesterday, and just making very fast rotations. Vamos willingly putting themselves on the red side despite having side pick. The glue getting banned out this time. So again, SRG, one of the few teams who is willing to switch up the bans and really just play the red pill, blue pill game.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and especially since Coach Arcadia always turns red pill, blue pill. He does it very well, right? He'll take away one of your comforts and one power pick, of course, but he now has identified that the problem is it's Zkeef. He's getting away a little too much. He is disrupting us more than what we are trying to do. So let's try and limit his power, right? Keep him to something that is that is a little more vulnerable, something that doesn't sustain for so long, or at least gets ult resets.
Yeah, there's very few heroes that can create the kind of pressure that Glue does. So if SRG takes it out, the next best thing is going to be a lot easier to handle. And that's why this team is so good at figuring out how they want to play their game as well. They have a wide hero pool, but they also have a very good understanding about what heroes cause issues for the things they want to do. And up until now, Vamos hasn't quite shown that level of finesse yet. So going into this game, I kind of want to ask you guys, right? Like, what are the heroes that need to be prioritized now?
I think for Vamos, needs to be prioritized. I think it might not be Nako anymore, right? I feel like you're looking at Arrow 4-4 and Clawkun to have the biggest impact, because Zkeef is going to get mega targeted. Again, like Glue and Kalea banned out. My biggest concern is that whatever trades that Vamos has gone for hasn't worked out in their favor, and it really came down to just Arrow 4-4 having a banger, having a hot game, and just out macroing everyone else. But if you put everything in the error basket, we get something like Game 2.
Yeah, it's good to see some of the members here, at least Sapat's brothers, are chilling in the crowd right now, bringing their families along to watch this matchup for him. And hopefully he gets a good game. I think what SRG has over Vamos as of right now is the fact that they understand that there is some similarities or some relationship between the EXP and jungle for the side of Vamos, right? And they're trying to make sure you either get one or the other, you won't get both.
And with the Paquito now being locked in straight away, Vamos is going to need to figure something out. They're still going to stick with the Freya, which I think is fine. It just means that whatever happened in game number 2, Sabat needs to figure it out. You cannot afford to be losing that lane, especially if you want to play hard and fast from the early stages. And now Natco will have the Claude, so he'll no longer be easy pickings for artillery mages.
A big part of that early game has been restricted to just turtle fights and mid lane pressure, right? The side lanes have been completely left on an island, so SRG are now up 2-0 in side lane domination, especially that XP lane where Cram just does not allow Sapa to move.
I personally believe that Vamos right now, if they are going to give up on a turtle, it cannot just influence or inflate the economy of just one person. There needs to be some bigger impact here. It can't just be for Era 404. I'm hoping that they actually invest a couple more resources into Natco this time round.
I think so as well. Natco unfortunately got left on an island last game. After he got picked up a couple times, the thought process is just, okay, we have no choice, bro. We gotta leave you be, sacrifice you because Era can play. And it did work. It allowed them to delay the game long enough that Natco gets full items anyway. So at least Vamos is able to make that sort of adjustment. But now SRG is going to be taking that Suyo away from them. They got the Zeusin in mid as well. We saw from the stats earlier that Stormy has a much higher win rate on the Zeusin compared to Clawkun currently. So this is a hero that SRG is very familiar with. What should be the counterplay?
I think stick to what they've been doing well so far, which is controlling that mid. I think they have very good understanding on how to stall out Stormy and Yums, and it's more like that objective fight, right? They've opted to give up on objective and only take turtles when there's no contest, but it's also enabled by the same duo, Zkif and Clawkun. I'm looking for translation, and so far there hasn't been any. And that's also props to SRG for denying those side lane entries.
And now we go into the second phase. I'm surprised that Harley was going to be the pick here for the side of Vamos, but I guess they wanted to make sure that at least, you know, Era 404 has something to play. I was thinking maybe even Leomore might have been the way to go. It's just, I feel like Harley's dangerous when you see Paquito on the opposite side.
I was thinking Leomore.
Yeah. Like, we've literally seen the interaction last game itself, right? Where Harley can be very good at poking, but the moment he gets caught for an instant, he just explodes. They banned up Brody, which is quite unusual. Now, we did see this played, but it was kind of an IG exclusive.
I feel like Zora Veki,
spooked, you know?
Oh, is it spooked, or are they looking at each other and they're like, okay, I don't know what to do in the second half. Let's just use our plan that we had for IG instead. And they start whipping out the documents.
Like if IG prove anything is that you can't deal with the Brody early.
Yeah, can't deal with the Brody early.
But they did have a solution, right? They pick active roamers like the Khalid, for example, which really shut down the Brody. So I'm equally surprised that they opted to go for the ban instead.
It feels like you would be able to handle it just fine. And if you really want to get rid of those counters, there's still things like Moskov or Clint around, but Valentina is going to be banned from SRG.
Starting to hurt right now.
So many good options already taken out of the water. And I think that Vamos, like, I'm not sure whether Brody should have been the pick or not. Regardless, I was thinking about single target lockdown. I was thinking about the Atlas as well. Could they be a potential problem to this Freya? They need something that kind of deters the dive from Freya and Claude.
I feel like you're almost incentivized to pick Cho if you're Vamos, right?
Yeah.
And just for the sole reason you don't want the Harley to deal with the Cho.
Yeah. And it does add up to that combination we saw before, where Harley will force flickers and Cho can force purifies. So could be a good option to go for here, since right now SRG only really has one purify holder, which is that Zeusin.
Oh, he's targeted innocent. What does he have left? I mean, there's the Clint, there's the Carry, there's the Bruno. You know, there's some choices left. I think SRG won't lose sleep over that. It's more of whether Vamos can make that worth it. Does this secure Nako a good enough lane?
They're gonna go ahead and ban out that Atlas. It's clear at this point that SRG is looking at the early phases. They understand that Vamos wants to play for that timing. Having heroes that slow down that timing would be very annoying to deal with. Not to mention Atlas has some funky interactions with Zeusin.
Yeah, the most important one, when he splits his body, no matter how many stacks that you actually have, you can't really get picked up. And not to mention, it actually resets a good chunk of the stacks as well. So there is a little bit of an interaction there. I don't know. I'm looking at this and I feel like they can't back themselves out of this corner anymore. Their composition feels very straightforward from the side of Vamos' side, and I think that SRG has a lot of ways to respond.
That's gonna be Cho, yeah. They're forced to pick the Cho.
They can go whatever they want. They can go Gato, they can go Khalid if they want to.
Gato Bruno?
Yeah, Bruno's a bit, no. Okay. Let me put some real thought behind this. What could they... what could they put in the gold lane that is self-sustaining, can scale, and doesn't really need its Purify?
So driving a hard bargain.
That's a tough one, yeah.
That's the thing. I feel like
I don't know.
I was thinking Irithel, but the problem is like I would rather sprint in those scenarios. But you kind of have to take the Purify in this case. Roger's also a possibility. 2 out of them are kind of squishy. Freya just has more sustain, so if you burst them up fast enough, it's possible.
Sounds like a Clint.
That's
Clint. And the Hilda.
I like that. Okay, so at least with Clint, you can kind of stand your ground. But now you have somebody who can actively open up the map without you having to put yourself in danger. So you should be able to kind of see the engagements coming.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Clint can be a bit annoying to deal with when you have these dive heroes because of that second skill. He just suddenly locks you down. So if the Freya tries to jump him as well, it can cause a momentary lapse in movement that can really affect these sort of dive plays. But now that we're going into game number 3, and we know that Vamos seriously needs a victory to keep themselves in this grand finals looking healthy. What are your thoughts?
I think the SRG have a much easier composition to pull off. I think that Vamos only really has a chance if Era 404 finds an early blood kill in that mid lane with Clawhood.
I agree. I think this is a low-cost comp, right? You're always ready to fight at the drop of the dime. So SRG, if they get active, Vamos is going to suffer.
Well, Vamos, they do not want to be suffering in this position. This is a new generation that has already broken expectations by making it this far. They want to be able to bring it all the way. And already getting poked out heavily in that mid lane. Stormy loves this hero.
Yeah, no, it's really difficult. This is one of the few combinations that is just like, now what's lacking in Stormy's quote-unquote early game damage, Yums compensates for them while still providing enough peel to allow the butterfly stacks to max out. So it's just, what do? You just pray.
And Ziggy cannot walk up to help clear the wave, right? You have lantern stack, they get jumped on by the Hilda. It's a Little Wonder contest. The SRG not really prioritizing it. It's fine.
They are delaying him pretty long here. I don't think they'll be able to... Yeah, this makes sure that the mid lane still doesn't have control over the lane while maintaining protection over the top side of the map camps.
Oh, ZK. Hold on. Timing actually spots out a potential gank there. Nero 4-4 doing the same on the Stormy.
Beautiful.
So good exchange.
Ends up being a pretty solid trade of HP there for Team Vamos. Losing HP on your roamer. Very worth it trading for the mid lane, though it looks like Stormy is going to stick around anyway. He is holding that Brave Smite, so he can still heal back up. Clawhood is going to try and force him to go home.
Honestly, Clawhood should walk up and try to die for this. And Stormy, he needs to know to back off. He knows that right now, Era 404 is currently on that purple buff and could jump at any time. So really risky stuff, but also trying to deny Stormy as much EXP as possible.
What I want to see now from Vamos as well is going to be a little bit more attention towards that EXP side. Looks like Sabat is currently out farming the waves, but once we see that level 4 come in, we know how quickly Paquito is able to clear. After this first turtle, Vamos might want to affect that side a little bit more to ensure that Sabat can be a bigger threat.
Then lane swap just to get the level 4 for that solo lane. The 0-4-4 is going to try and poke Yums out. Yums will slowly heal back up with the passive. And this delays enough time for the rest of SRG to start participating as well. Yumi's just going to jump arrow 4-4 and force him away. And he flickers to safety. Whereas for Sabat, he does the same, but Cram again finds the knockout punch. And that's going to be Turtle and 2 kills for SRG.
Well, that's not good. That's basically the worst start you could have. And Nako is even going to have to flicker away. Meanwhile, RWM...
Come on, Nako! Didn't want to. And Stormy
just aura farming.
Yeah, that one definitely was an ego check for sure. But this is probably the worst start that we're going to see coming in from Vamos there. Like Clawhood alongside with Supad. I wanted to say that Supad was coming out of the lane even, but apparently he wasn't. He was able to get the river crabs though, which at least allowed him to hit level 4 in the mid lane.
An attempt onto Yum's life. They have enough. Yum's healing up with the passive, but the auto attacks more than enough. Arrow 4-4 gets a return.
At least they get something there, but Vamos definitely still behind because of this. The reason why Sabat wasn't even in lane is because they pulled him out of lane early. They actually gave a wave to Clawhood to hit level 4 so that the Freya could join the fight first, but Not sure if that's really the most worth it. You want Sabat to be present and relevant.
I think they should have regrouped afterwards, right? They were trying to hold too much ground with not enough manpower. And I think the logistic battle here is, more important than just making the right decisions.
That makes sense to me right now. SRG holding the majority of the draft votes, which I think we have to agree with. Like you guys already pointed out, easier to execute. Clockun had the flicker there. So SRG already positing around this top river, even with the turtle 30 seconds away.
You know who likes flickerless targets? Cram, man.
No, this is good from the side of Vamos right now. They're trying to read into the rotations of SRG. They're not wasting too much time of just responding to them. They're actually getting something back, and this is what I've wanted to see for a while now in the early game.
Air 4-4.
He might die.
He might die.
Oh, good block.
Yeah. Body block it. It should be more than enough for Cram. He's just gonna wail on Air 4-4. The cooldown comes back up on time. So Era gets out. ZKF now arrives, but spotted out.
Okay, good job there of keeping composure and honestly playing with fire, but this is what...
wrong direction. ZKF, he might go down. There's a Sky Pierce on innocent side. Gets his first stack.
Unlucky. Wasn't able to execute it in the right direction. Even so, this means that Selangor Red Giants will now start taking everything.
Starting with Yums just invading jungle, forcing out the early retry just to secure the buff. This is going to be a free turtle for Skies, and we are looking at a very early lead with Cram picking up the killing spree.
Another interception, and now a full-on dive from Clockun and ZK. Both are going to go down. The Valkyrie's Descent does join in. ZK does not escape from that, but Sabat and Nako try to find the return. Some guys backtrack with the Blaze Surge, and now they stagger Sabat. He cannot get close to the Sky Prince. SRG finds 4 bodies.
Would it be a little early of me to say that this game might be over?
It's looking kind of doomed. I mean, look at this decision right here. Both Natco alongside with Sabat decided, you know what? After losing 3 members, it's not enough. Let's throw 2 more bodies into the mix, right? And they wanted to get something back here. Unfortunately, SRG just played a little bit better, but they shouldn't have been here in the first place. Natco should have just stayed topside, and in this case, Sabat now has become this, unfortunately, the secondary win condition. He should have picked up the mid and bottom wave instead of joining the fight.
Yeah, Sabat's being heavily affected by losing 1 wave EXP early on for that first turtle and then not really being able to translate it to anything. This is one of their main front lines. This is the Freya that was delaying fights for them in the previous game and no longer is capable of doing so. A 4,000 gold lead for SRG in 6 minutes. And we already talked about how SRG is quite comfortable with being behind in gold. If they're ahead, it's even worse.
Yeah, they're not one of those few teams that you want to get this far ahead. But now that we're already here, it's just the reality they got to live in. Right now, I think that Team Vamos just needs to minimize the bleeding, right? Make sure, just go back to farming those waves. Sure, you come in, you invade us, we can't get anything back, whatever. We can't do much about it. They're waiting for the upcoming Lord. These turtles are uncontestable, and people need items before they're relevant.
And the thing about playing a Harley when there's a Park on the other side is that if he takes control of one lane, that's one side of the jungle inaccessible. And Nako, I don't know how he can outplay this. I think he's guaranteed to die.
He just has to die here. He just has to buy time, die, so the rest of the team might be able to get turtle or even getting bot side.
Dang, can I just say that 2 Sky Pierce on the SRG side? Innocent and Sakai. Cram is fine.
Cram already doing his job of delaying the turtle take. Vamos tried to see if they could go for a blitz, but the Paquito is already there. SRG is so ahead that they can afford to split their resources and still achieve multiple things on the map at once. This is where the Red Giants are strongest, and I don't see Vamos turning this.
It's hard. It's hard. Not especially when Yums is at this stage of the game where he is uncontested, unstoppable with Cram to fall back to. It's a recipe for disaster. We've seen this way too many times in way too many playoffs.
Look at where Cram is standing. It's impossible to walk up.
Yeah, let's actually look at his build real quick. Let's see what he's opting to go for. Is he extra greedy this time? Nah, he's not extra greedy.
I think after all this, we can quite confidently say Paquito cannot be allowed through the draft. Unfortunately, the Freya is not working as a solution here. And Vamos is gonna need to learn that the hard way Because if they're not able to win this one, they will be one match off of losing that championship. Oh, the damage!
Sapat, please, movement. We cannot be colliding into these walls, man. It's just up or down.
I'll tell you the craziest thing. Vamos knows this feeling, this exact feeling. They get Paquito 4 games in a row and they clean swept the grand lower bracket finals. Here we are giving Paquito to SRG the second time.
I mean, maybe they've learned something from this, but that is such a ridiculous lead to have as an EXP laner, right? 2 levels ahead. You're basically 2K. Like, Cram, do what you want, but nobody's gonna put you in cuffs at this point. Nobody can.
Even ZK was like, this guy's not worth kicking.
Yeah.
I kick him back, he's gonna kill my backline.
He actually will. This man is capable of 1v3, 1v4 quite comfortably at this point.
Oh.
And then you consider that his teammates have Sky Piercers with stacks.
Yep, they're gonna make an attempt in the mid lane. That's a kick onto Sakai's, but wow, Lord ZK, he is gone. The Butanako with the dive, you just hold the front here, comes Tramp back in it again, and Sakai's walks away with another kill.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? We need to be going on the same targets, Vamos. Let's pull up the instant replay. We have one, because again, like ZK, he is getting good targets. Don't get me wrong, he is finding great targets. It's just that everybody has a different idea of where they need to be, and unfortunately, we need to kind of strip line it. You're not that guy yet. You're 7K down.
I for sure thought Sakai's was dead.
Yeah, me too. As 100% a kill, that is 100% a shutdown. That would be a pretty nice goal swing for you, and Vamos just wasn't able to capitalize. I'm honestly really concerned at this point that they may be losing more composure than we had hoped for here in the grand finals. What do they need to do at this point?
I'm trying to think what is a viable solution. Stormy's kind of hard to catch at this stage, right? But arguably, I think they have to just kind of let...
Oh my goodness.
Good Lord. That's the art of it, and return. Another kick on the Crab. Crab is gonna dive Clockhood.
Oh my, he's not punished.
Crab is still alive.
Oh, this hero is busted.
They needed at least a 2-item Clockhood. Until that point, they just don't have enough damage to get through anybody here, and the fights just don't drag out long enough as well.
The Lord is still not here, but SRG might just give us the fastest game in the grand finals thus far. Era 4 for Nako. You gotta wait for Zeke, but Era is gonna get pulled back. That's gonna be used on top of him. Era is straight up dead. Zeke back in action with Nako. Cram zoning all of them out. And that's 2 inhibs gone for Vamos. The third one destined to fall. And it seems like defeat is an inevitability at this point. Sapat with a dive in. Where did his elbow? Good. Nice Sapat. Monster kill for the Flint. Another lift off Clockhood. Doesn't do any impact. Nako gets a shutdown, but it's a bit too late. Selangor Red Giants now 3-0 and are ever so close to the 5th star.
Yep. They can't break
your eyes, children. This is not safe for you. You are not old enough to witness the one-sided slaughter that game was.
They got him. They got him figured out. They've got Vamos figured out, and I don't think that there's enough adjustments to make it work. It's either they go back to the traditional style of play, which I think that SRG is way more comfortable in dealing with, or we get this. Because so far, that mid lane needs some form of control. They really need it. Because Yums and Stormy are playing peak right now.
I mean, that was like their strongest suit in the first 2 games, and we didn't see that in game 3, right? Felt like they've lost that flair, but Paquito has to go.
He has to.
In best case scenario, you get Paquito. If you don't get it, get rid of it.
Thing is, like in game 2, Vamos had the opportunity to get Paquito first. They chose not to. They went for the Freya as a counter. If they decide to adjust at this point, I feel like SRG will already be 1 step ahead. If Vamos goes back to blue side now, I'm pretty sure Paquito's getting banned.
I think that what's going to happen is they're going to be like, you know what? We're going to go first pick Paquito, and then immediately we're going to see Claude Freya on the opposite side. Like, it feels inevitable at this point because what SRG knows for a fact is that their side lanes are stronger and they can bank on it. And that's now we can just double down on making sure that Sakai's is having a good old time when you have a mid lane that has so much control over a map with expanding rivers.
Yeah, like MLBB is supposed to be a 5v5 game. For Vamos, it's 5v5, but for SRG, no, you're just focusing on 3 people.
The mid trio of SRG has always been one of the pride of Malaysia. And the Sky Prince among them claiming MVP for game number 3 on a very impressive Suyo performance. Bit of a feels bad for Error 404 because he would definitely got an MVP if they won game 2, but you gotta be able to finish. And right now, the synergy and coordination from SRG is reaching a high.
They're getting a little nervous, and you can tell by their style of play, right? They're losing a lot of confidence, and they're trying to salvage every single scenario. At a certain threshold of gold deficit, there's no saving it when you're 2 levels down. You just don't have the base damages. I'm hoping that Vamos, at least, if they're willing to brawl, again, I like the fact that, hey, if they're taking one side of the map, we need to start going on and doing something on the opposite side.
Just look at the scores, look at the items, how skewed it is. 16 kills to 2. Innocent is 6-0 from just like showing up at fights and getting 3 kills.
You know you're kind of screwed when the enemy decides to buy 2 Sky Pierces.
Yeah, there's no going around that.
Well, normally you would say, this is Dark System.
I would, but
in
like
this case,
but in this case, it's like you're already 10k ahead. Like you came in 9-2 by like 8 minutes. That the game's kind of done at that point. Like, the only person who could really save this game was Clockhood, but he needs so much gold.
It doesn't help that most of the Vamos heroes are made of paper, right? Like Clint and Suyo, they blow through health bars so fast.
It's too much. It's too much to deal with. And of course, Carry going to be the Cram, of course, because Innocent just can't get into the fights as effectively as Cram.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, right? It's all right. But even so, it is still a pretty tough game. And I think, honestly, Yums made it near impossible for Vamos to kind of break away and find that comeback mechanic.
The draft from SRG continues to be just really, really complete. They understand how these players tick. They've got so much experience fielding most of MLBB's roster that they know what needs to be pulled out at the right time. And I am now honestly really, really concerned. I feel like Vamos has burnt out a little bit. The loss in game 2 may have taken too much out of them.
And that's the biggest worry, right? One of the biggest tests that Vamos have to overcome, because if this is what causes a burnout in Paris, it's only going to get tougher. And I think for Vamos, again, like Eden said, you can't shake off this Hilda. Like Yums is stalking them left, right, and center, and it doesn't help that Sapat has no control over his lane at all. Man ends the game with only 2 core items, man. This is such a sad Freya game. And because of that, Cram gets not just get a level lead, he walks into your jungle and he intercepts Era's rotation. This game was so unplayable.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this. From 6 minutes all the way to like nearly 11 minutes-ish. Like he spent 5 minutes getting a War Axe after he was done with the Golden Staff and as well as the Tough Boots. Like that's how far gone this game is done for. And I think that Vamos, if you are going to play a composition like Natko and Sapat, both on like high scaling style of side lanes, maybe, play for your win condition. Air 4-4, he's missed his timing in the early game now that he hasn't found any snowball leads. So you gotta play for Nako or Sapat at that point.
And the risky thing about this lineup from Vamos is that basically every hero is a core in some way, except Cho, of course. But that means that every one of them needs farm. You ideally need to have a really, really good early game, and then this team comp works because it just snowballs you so hard. But if it's not working, you just have a bunch of squishy heroes that don't output enough damage compared to SRG. And because they're playing Cho and the Freya is behind, there's no proper front line like the glue before that can just delay and let them reset in fights. SRG is literally running past them, taking out Clockhood when the fight starts in the backline because there's nothing to stop them.
Have you ever seen a Jusin out in an RWM just to pick up a Yeef?
Yep.
Yep.
This game is that game.
Oh boy, without it, would not have been able to experience it. I'm trying to figure out a way for like Vamos to actually adjust into this, right? Like the laning phase, actually not the worst from Sapat this time around. They fixed a lot of those mistakes. Nako as well is coming out a little bit better, but not enough. So they gotta make some sacrifices in the draft. Like they cannot keep trying to get everything.
Disparity is quite jarring when you look at the series so far, right? And really does put into perspective when teams talk about they want to face SRG at their peak and they don't consider any wins over SRG with Uni in the XP lane as a true win. Because right now, SRG, a well-oiled machine, we thought it's going to take them a game or two to, figure things out, but I think they came in here hot.
They came in extremely hot as well. Not to mention that at least for like game number 1, you could definitely see that they were like trying to get information more than anything else, right? A lot of the stutter steppings, a lot of the like, you know what, I'll just throw the ability in awkward bushes, not typical bushes, just to check.
I think what needs to happen now going forward is going to be just a reversion. I think Vamos has to go back to basics. It's a little bit similar to what they did in game 2, where they grabbed heroes that they felt comfortable with, but clean it up in the draft slightly, right? I think that, unfortunately, Sapat's Freya is leaving a bit to be desired. Put him back on a playmaker. If he doesn't get the Paquito, give him the Arlet. Even if it's not the best matchup, at least he can get things done on the map. So have Zkeep on a proper setter. I think that he's okay on show. It's just that maybe a little panicked under this situation. That's why he made mistakes like that. And it's tough when you are the main front line and the main catcher, right? You just gotta fix up on those things. But we do have another PCU. That's a lot higher than the last time we checked in. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost double it.
Hey, people are waking up and they're tuning in.
Look, we just need like 2 more games and we break the record.
Woo! That'll be the goal.
So we need Vamos to win the next one. That's all we ask for. But all we ask from you guys is to continue watching and redeeming that code at the bottom. That is a reward for you guys for continuing to stick with us. And if you guys are eager for even more MLBB action after MPL's concluded, we do have the MAL Malaysia Season 5 playoffs that is taking place from the 11th to 13th of June at U Plaza South on the MSU campus in Shah Alam. Come and show your support and encouragement for Academy League teams as they battle it out on the playoff stage. And don't forget to follow the official MAL MY social media for updates on match schedules, event timings, and more information about the playoffs. But for now, right, we're gonna take a moment. We need to give these players time, right? So we'll allow Poji to take over for a bit. I've heard he's got an interview going on down there. So Poji, who are you talking to?
Terima kasih rakan-rakan caster. Anda kembali bersama saya Poji untuk satu sesi interview istimewa bersama dengan ibu daripada Aero 404 dan juga Zakif. Assalamualaikum, apa khabar? Alright, mungkin dalam setiap perjuangan dan perjalanan anak itu ada doa dan restu ibu. Mungkin puan dan puan boleh kongsi sikit perasaan bila tahu anak puan masing-masing dapat melayakkan diri ke EWC, bertanding di luar negara. Apa perasaannya waktu tu?
Rasa sangat gembira dengan bangga.
Macam tak jangka lah benda tu.
Betul.
Macam mana pula dengan puan?
Saya rasa bersyukur sangatlah sebab impian dia lah sejak dia masuk ni untuk ML ni. Memang saya bersyukur sangatlah. Bangga dengan dia.
Jadi daripada puan sendiri, datang daripada jauh, daripada Melaka ya?
Ya.
Jadi macam mana perjalanan hari ni tu penuh dengan harapan ke? Macam mana expectation ke?
Actually, tak ada pressure sebab cukup bangga dah. Diorang sampai top 2 kan. So, kalau boleh menang tu bonus.
InsyaAllah ya, menang bonus. Tapi macam mana pula dengan ceritanya untuk Ibu Akif? Sebab untuk cerita yang saya difahamkan untuk Puan, Akif pernah cerita dengan kami. Kenapa dia nak sangat pergi EWC? Sebab dia nak tolong ibu dia. Dia kata nak bantu ibu dia kurangkan beban masalah hidup dan sebagainya. Mungkin apa pandangan Puan bila Akif cakap macam tu dan dia buktikan dia dah boleh wakil ke luar negara?
Dia anak yang paling memahamilah apa-apa semua. Apa-apalah kalau apa masalah pun saya kalau cakap dengan dia, dia faham. Dia suka macam matang lah. Cara dia nasihat ke apa ke. Walaupun dia anak nombor 3. Itulah.
Tapi dia memang niat dia nak membantu
ya,
gitu.
Betul.
Faham.
Daripada mula lah. Daripada dia masuk ni. Dan saya dulu dia nak masuk ni saya tak setuju sebenarnya. Tapi lah dia dah minat kan.
Tapi kalau macam mana pula dengan pandangan Puan dan Puan tentang pengorbanan perjalanan anak itu sendiri? Mungkin ada yang nak kena sambung belajar ataupun kadang-kadang macam ada sesetengah ibu bapa kadang-kadang macam tak faham perjalanan macam ni. Puan ni baru cakap kan, tak sokong, tak support. Tapi macam mana? Menjadi support moral yang kuat kepada dia. Apa yang puan lakukan kepada dia, apa yang puan buat kepada dia. Mungkin boleh kongsi sedikit kepada penonton yang tengah tengok sekarang.
Actually, mula-mula pun tak setuju. Lepas tu tengok dedication dia kan nak main sangat. Lepas tu management Wamos pun ada bincang dengan saya. So, saya bagi support lah. Lepas tu tengok perkembangan dia setakat ni pun okay. So, continue support saja.
Teruskan je menyokong dia sebab nak nampak dia punya support. Maksudnya daripada organisasi dia sendiri banyak memberikan bantuan dan sebagainya. Kalau Akif pula macam mana? Sebab korang ni macam anak dan anak tu bermain satu pentas, satu pasukan. Ini sokongan tu bagi kepada dia.
Saya ikut pada dia lah, sebab dia dah memang minat kan. Jadi saya memang sokong lah apa yang dia nak buat apa semualah.
Okey, baik. Sekarang ni Puan, mungkin game ini akan jadi game yang terakhir. Mungkin mereka boleh buat sesuatu keajaiban. Mungkin kita mulakan dengan Puan dulu. Minta bagi semangat dekat Danish dan juga Akif yang tengah kat dalam tu tengah bincangkan macam mana nak menterbalikkan keadaan. Mungkin dengan doa, restu ibu dan juga ibu boleh buat miracle.
Danish dengan tim Wamos, nanti doakan korang boleh reverse sweep. Let's go.
Let's go, reverse sweep. Okey, untuk Puan.
Untuk Akif, buat yang terbaik je lah. Sebab dia pun dah pergi sejauh ni kan. Jadi saya tak kisah, bersyukur je. Dia dapat tempat kedua ke, memang tak kisahlah. Saya bersyukur lah.
Tak kisah apa yang terjadi, perjalanan mereka bukan terhenti di sini. Masih jauh lagi dan kita doakan mereka buat yang terbaik. Tak kisah apa berlaku, mereka dah pun berusaha. Dan sebenarnya sampai sini sahaja untuk saya bersama dengan mereka. Mungkin ibu dan ibu boleh nak pergi berjumpa dengan anak-anak. Tapi sekarang kita nak pergi berehat sekejap untuk solat maghrib. Berdoa banyak-banyak. Semoga ada keajaiban dan ada sinar untuk mereka. Jom berehat.
Telan air mata, selamanya ku takkan di bawah. Perjalananku sampai ke puncak dalam perjuangan. Bila hati terang menyala, setiap luka jadi kekuatan. Pengorbanan yang jauh ujungnya. Sudah tiba masanya melangkah takdir jalan yang gentir ku tempuh. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia.
We return to the MPL Malaysia Season 17 Grand Finals, where Team Vamos is officially backed into a corner. Nothing left on the line but their own chances at victory. The score is 3-0, with the Red Giants looking to place their 5th back-to-back victory upon their trophy cabinet. Vamos, can they stop them? You're back with us on the English broadcast. My name's Staff. I once again joined with Gideon and Husky. And I think we all knew this was going to be a possibility. But now that we are here, how are you feeling?
Not good. I'm not feeling really good with what I'm seeing. And I think we all know, right? Vamos, clearly the Game 2 loss has hit them really hard. Because Game 3, they did default back to give certain stress a second try, letting out the Paquito and taking the Freya for themselves. But in the end, it didn't solve any problems, and it created even more problems because they needed Sepa to have a good lane. That didn't happen. Narco is still under pressure, and they lost the only leverage that they had, which was the mid lane priority.
They needed to get that first game momentum because right now they're looking a little concussed coming into game number 3. And now that we're here at game number 4, like, I'm hoping that the Margaret break was long enough for them to really find that big reset. Because honestly, the mistakes aren't that big. It's just that game 3, let's omit game 3. The mistakes that we saw in game 1 and 2, honestly, very minimal building up to those big moments.
Yeah, if we disregard game 3, Vamos has potential. We've seen it. They were this close in game number 2 to finally dropping a game off of the Red Giants. If they can find that energy back, if they can just reset the mental, get the correct draft, I think we can witness a game on that quality again. But it's also clear that SRG is really hitting a peak here. They've understood what went wrong throughout the regular season, maybe in the earlier stages of the playoffs. They are operating at full capacity. Vamos is back on blue side. What should they do?
I think if the park is, by God's grace, left open, you take the park, right? But if not, then you should give the side lanes a good lane.
Well, we did reach out to Skies on the opposite side to ask a little bit. If you guys manage to win your 5th straight championship title, who do you hope gets FMVP? And Sky says, I hope Yums gets it. Then his status can be upgraded to legendary and stuff. It'll look good on his resume.
As if he's not already one.
Yeah, I mean, we say that, and then the Legendo Award just keeps on going and being distributed out. Like, eventually, Yums is going to get his time.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen that snapshot of his accolades? He has the longest wall of text, right? It takes a lot.
I mean, it's just like a real job interview, you know? You have all the accolades on your resume, and they're like, but where's your degree?
You don't get hired because you don't have FMVP.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
You don't have your degree, your certificate. We need that. You
But
know?
I dropped out of 2 FMVPs. Come on! All right, but it's time that we start heading on into the drafting phase, and I'm actually excited to see this one because now maybe we get to see a look at SRG opting to try and hold them accountable, right? If Paquito gets let through, I want to see what the response from SRG is going to be. Is it going to be that Freya again, or is it something else entirely?
SRG has 3 opportunities, 3 games to really put Vamos on that grill, on the hot plate, and really give Vamos a fighting chance and limit test themselves.
Thing is, SRG is not a team known to pull their punches, figuratively speaking. They are going to put their full strength to bear. And if you can't beat them, well, then that's just the breaks, kid. Vamos gotta overcome that wall first. They are on blue side. They have the option to go for Paquito. SRG will let them make that choice. Come on.
It has to beat the park. Come on.
Come on.
Yep.
There we go.
Right. The Sepaquito will return. And now this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. What actually is the answer to Paquito? If any team is going to tell us, it's SRG.
So, I don't know about you guys, but I did talk about this in after hours. Oh, never mind. I'm not even going to bother about it.
It's exactly what you said.
Why is foreshadowing so powerful?
The Claude Freya, as you predicted, Vamos go for the Zusin Suyo. So,
the SRG draft.
It's the same draft?
The SRG Game 3 draft. Look at all the steals there.
It's actually the exact same draft. The teams are just on opposite sides.
All right, who are you going to pick? Harley?
This... Well, let's see. Because again, I think there's still a number of viable jungle options that they could have gone for if they wanted to. They can even like start leaning into tank jungles if necessary, and then start buffering up. Or I would prefer if they would go and actually show their support here.
Show support this early? Isn't that a little bit risky?
I mean, yes, it's a little risky, but compared to showing your mid laner as well, because I feel like they want to set up for the jungle pick anyways, or they can wait until the very end for it. Oh, I mean, if they go Leomord, sure.
I was thinking it's either jungler or maybe like you just pick Cho here, right?
Yeah, I was thinking it might be the Leomord here, just to have a jungler that can match the Suyo's pace. Also someone that is tanky enough to handle Paquito once he's got his items.
I'm trying to see what that code is. Oh, it's battle points.
Ah, hopefully you've redeemed it, sir.
Gets doxed on the English side.
It's on national TV. Someone's gonna claim it.
Someone's gonna claim it. That's true. That's true.
Someone's in the audience is like, hey, I just got my new credit card.
That's exactly what I need to get the new hero.
All right, there we go. The glue gets shown up here. I'm surprised that the glue wasn't picked up within this first phase, but still, that's fine. Now see Atlas as a response from Vamos as expected, but SRG, I'm curious if they are thinking about like the Khaleeds the Hildas, the aggressive type in your face.
Or do they want to, you know, stick a needle into Nako's hero pool again? Ban on Moskov.
Banning on Moskov doesn't seem like too bad an idea. Now that the glue is gone, I feel like SRG are quite comfortable handling the rest. Maybe, if anything, ban the Khalid or the Gatot, I suppose, since these are probably ZQ's best heroes. But no, it is going to be an attack towards Natko. Interestingly enough, though, it is the carry ban.
It is the carry ban, which does tell me that SRG want to have some form of front line. If they are getting rid of the carry, what else would have been good in the mid? I mean, like, obviously Cho, but I think that Vamos is going to get rid of it here.
I think you have to ban the Cho. If not, then maybe the Hilda goes for SRG again. But I could even argue that there's room to put Yoon's heroes last, right? Depending on...
well, it's mainly because it's like a weaker combination. It feels like SRG is going to kind of get Yve no matter what here, right? But now, what do you pair that Yve with? And we also don't know what the matchup on the opposite side. So I think, all intents and purposes, pick up the Cho here, and then after that, end it with Yve.
Yeah, I think it's most likely a Cho pick.
Yeah, I think Cho is pretty solid right here. Though SRG does still have plenty of options if they're still looking. The mid duo has always been something that they excelled in. It's gonna be the Cho, as you guys predicted. Vamos did decide to ban the chip. Kind of an interesting choice here. Not really something you'd consider, considering current circumstances. So I wonder if they're just intending to play something that the chip counters.
Chip counters. I mean, unless you are looking at just playing lanes, right? Like side lanes.
I think they're gonna go Badang. I think like Vamos, knowing how majority of MY teams like to like, oh, this is match point. We need to get some degree of comfort.
Yep.
But if you were going to play Badang, then logically Chip should be fine.
Is that?
Oh, that's terrifying.
Goddamn clankers back at it again.
Wow, Yishun should go.
They're trying it. Wait, yeah.
Wait, hold on. What's the next pick after this here?
Is this a...
Gato. That's a good pick. Okay. Yeah. Okay, maybe there's some hope here because now they've kind of nullified what the mid lane is. So even if they go for like Cho Yve, the harassment is going to be at very minimal. You know, Gato just clears the wave, moves fast, and now you have somebody to actively guard your side camps.
What if they just pick Kimmy again?
Could be Kimmy, honestly.
Ooh, that would
could also be Lilia.
No, I think that it might be. It's still going to be Yve, right? Even into the Gato.
It could be. Kimi didn't do too bad.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
I mean, it did win.
Wait, hold on. Let me just quickly look at the... is it worth stealing an AOG? Is there like a Valentina angle here? No.
No, I mean...
No, I don't think
it's like
so.
Yes and no, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of like a yes
Kimi.
and no. Okay, there we go. The Kimi. Off pick it is. Off pick it is. You're right about that. Man, this one's kind of tough. I'm not 100% sure because that mid lane is so 50-50.
I do think that at the very least this time around, Vamos has good tools. Their mid duo was strong, errors on a hero that he was literally dominating with, and now we got Sepakiro. The only one that I'm maybe a little uncertain about is Nako's YSS, because we've never really seen him play it. But if any time is the time to pull out a secret hero that they've been preparing, now is the time to do it. When their backs are against the wall, when the score is 3-0 in the grand finals, will this be the secret ingredient that Vamos needs to finally topple the Giants?
This could be the final game that Vamos gets to play in this grand finals, or the start of a new comeback for the new gen. We're going to be heading into game number 4. Vamos finds themselves back on blue side, SRG on red side. And it's quite ironic when we look back 4 seasons ago in season 13. That's also where we announced the new era before this current era. And it was SRG that kickstarted it with a win. And it looks like they're about to go into the second generation with another win if they get this one.
Yep, immediately they're trying to gain control over this lane fast. And you'll see he's got to minimize the amount of damage that he has. Unfortunately for Subot, doesn't get to the wave in time at level 1. Now, just means that he's just going to have to take a slower time.
Subot's got an important role to play up until, well, I don't really think he's won a lane yet this grand finals, which is definitely not good. Playing off of EXP is very important considering the current meta. Now he has the pick that has been causing him so much grief. One of his main heroes, he's gotta pop off.
Let's see whether or not he finds that opportunity, right? Because you can see that Vamos is leaning towards his side of the map a lot more often. And not to mention that Nako, he honestly has an opportunity to find like a solo kill onto Innocent, but not right now. Oh my god. How did it turn this way?
And also, if they lose this game, it will be Sepat's first and last loss on Paquito. He's been perfect so far on this hero.
Ooh, you are right about that one. Stellar record. Literally his namesake when it comes to his nickname here in MPL. So a lot is riding right now on Team Vamos to get this victory.
Let's see, because right now SRG have a lot of control over the river.
Whoa! That's an attempt on the Clockwood's life, and I think they will still get it. Zukai, they can try and control it. Zukai just gets swing away. First blood for Clockwood. Good backup there from Vamos.
Good anticipation from the side of SRG. They understood that they were moving towards that right side. They were ready for the ambush as soon as they got together onto the south side of the river bush.
Revitalize is so good in the early game. The healing is way more than a lot of people would expect, and SRG making an uncharacteristic hard dive early there, losing Skies in the process, but now controlling the turtle to make sure that he can farm back up.
That's going to be traction post. Clockwood will have the Crimson Beacon out of the way. They find a taunt into a lift, as will be Yung slain. Sepad forces Stormy out of the fight, and Cram is all alone. AOG hits the Nair ball, but it's enough for Vamos to walk away with the objective.
All right. Good start, good start. That is what Vamos needs. Punish the jungler, pick it up on the turtle, and that should be the start that allows them to play off of.
Innocent sustaining into this lane very, very well, but now the double waves have started to come through for Natco to surge more gold into this economy, but they still haven't been able to defend this one particular camp. They've been giving it up every single time, and that advantage is starting to build up onto Sakai's, already creating at least a 1-level lead gap.
In the EXP lane as well, looks like Sapat is able to finally start holding things on his own. Considering that SRG has up until this point played around an early game disadvantage. Hold on.
We're going to punish Clockwood again. Still at the Purify, but now they're going to use the kick. Purify not out just yet, doesn't need it. Crimson Beacon to disengage. Really playing on the line there.
Woo, tightrope gameplay coming in from Clockwood. He could have purified it out of that at any point of time, but he held it until the very end. He knows how important his resources are to him with a lineup that we see from SRG.
far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. At the very least, Vamos has not allowed their momentum, their mindset to be affected too heavily by the previous losses. Mountain Soccer gonna give them some information to play with. SRG definitely going to be a little bit behind, but they still have a scaling lineup, and this is not out of the ordinary for them.
Oh, what a...
Lock him out of the lane.
Dang. Where's your money? They're trying to hold him hostage here.
Ah, this feels bad.
Here comes the kick. They have the damage. Nako will trick this away. They force the flicker out from use, but still, Nako needs a recall. And Innocent finds a goal lead.
Oh, that's so sad. Actually, Stormer could have gotten the kill there, but his passive triggered, got to the max stacks of its triggered a little too late, allowing Nako enough time to traceless away. Thank God for iframes. But actually, Nako's in a pretty... He's not, you know, completely out of this game. In his first item rush, he decided not to go for the boost, went straight into the Hunter Strike first, so he actually has real damage.
And the Sky Piercer out for error 404. Barbell gets called in. The turtle secured for error 404. Clock will look to get away. AOG only hits on the one, but Cram still continues to wail away. And Sabah will keep Innocent occupied, but he has to disengage. And both teams will now back off. Error 404 goes back in, stuck by the traction hold. And ZK bails him out.
I think the big problem right now is that I don't think Natco wins a 1v1 in the late game against Cram, even with full items. Not to mention that he's also going coming down with strong.
Oh, no flick. No flick is dead.
Apparently he doesn't win early game either.
No, not at all. Neither does the Bud. This is ganked by 4 guys.
Getting caught like that, not great, not great. They should be able to crack this wide open, and now they've got a perfect 4-1 split.
This is an unfortunate series of events. Vamos has been doing a good job of holding on to objectives and trading in team fights, but then they lose 2. The sequential ganks from SRG. And this is honestly what Zoravecki mentioned in his quote earlier as well. SRG knows these timings. They know how to get under your skin. And when you least expect the fight to happen, they catch you on these rotations. And they gotta be more wary about it because that net worth advantage is just gone.
And now, I mean, it's very small leads that are being shown as of yet, but it's still good enough for Vamos, right? They still want that early scenario, making the early game not as difficult, but now we transition into the mid game. And this is where we've seen Vamos kind of struggle in a majority of their matches against SRG. It usually boils down to one bad fight.
Even for Vamos, they're not behind by any means. They lose the top tier 1. And I think even in terms of scaling, Nako will eventually get there. The guy's gonna be the victim. Extra hybrid defense from Barbial, keeping him alive, but the lift-off will be sufficient to take out the guy and turn on Yums. Vamos, they strike back, and that's 2 kills.
Great response coming in to Zeke. He sees Barbiel's line, knows instantly, hey, he's got to be on this line. I can cut him off straight away. And even Sakai's knew that he messed up as soon as he called the ult.
That's the value of the AOG, being able to deny those. So someone...
And
yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, trying to find a trade there.
Dude, why would you go in before your flicker is up, man? Like, you see the first opportunity, the second time, there's no need to go even further.
Yeah, I feel like Sapat, unfortunately, underperforming this grand finals a little bit, which is, again, not ideal. You really need your EXP lane to be providing value under current meta. And Cram is definitely doing a lot better in that regard, but Vamos being able to secure that last turtle is still holding on to the lead. My issue is, though, I feel like SRG just completely outscales when it comes to that late game.
Yes and kind of no, right? Because at the same time, as much like Innocent, absolutely, but Stormy is very conditional that he has somebody peeling for him. Cram, 100%, easily, but you can buy a little bit of time. There is a little bit of counterplay with Clawkwood, Zeke, and Sipat. Everybody else doesn't really stand a chance against Cram.
Speaking of Cram, it's gonna 1v1.
What are we doing here?
Fade enough. No. There's no shot.
Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, they might lose one of their team members. Clawkwood, are you gonna purify? That's gonna use the Crimson Beacon. And a good build out. Error 4-4 with the stun, but Innocent still gets the finisher with his own flicker. And with Clawkwood there, Nako just joins the fight. But I don't think there's anything to be held though. Nako shouldn't be staying there. ZK will try to escort him out, flicker into butt. Look for Innocent, doesn't have the damage. And now he's going to be stabbed to death.
Oh, that felt a little desperate there. Like, Sapat knows he needs to be doing things. He did not need to do that. And props over to Innocent for engaging with Flicker instead of BMI so that he could use it to dodge AOG. Foresight like this is why he's one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, even for Clawkwood, right? Moments moments like that where he can get out of it, he's just trying to save those resources, ends up getting blasted down by Innocent in the meantime, right? That's just damage he cannot afford to take anymore because he is the dedicated anchor of his team. Your side lanes die, whatever. You are the last bastion for people to fall back into you.
Yep. And Zkim needs him. Like, without him, Zkim is just a standing target. Let him do a number onto him.
They gotta stop.
He has to AOG out.
Yep. Resources being faded out quickly, and now they're re-engaging on Clockhood.
Clockhood is most likely going to go down unless help comes through. He goes finds a kick on the Nako. Nako will get out, but they lose Clockhood to Cram. A 1-for-1 trade thus far. SRG willing to continue fighting this. Arrow 4-4 in the wings. As you see this opening on the Sakai.
Oh my goodness, Cram.
Innocent is out, and DK will also disengage.
Yo, what are we fighting for? Anybody in chat can point out what exactly is Vamos fighting for? Like, are they fighting for an objective? Are they fighting for a neutral? Are they just fighting for the sake of fighting? Because right now, it sure feels like they're fighting for the sake of fighting.
I may have to agree with you there. Like, you could argue that maybe they're fighting because the Lord is coming up soon, but it's clear they're not really setting up for it either. They're really just trying to find some kind of kill, which is kind of their MO. Vamos has always been a teamfight team. They've always been a team that snowballs off of getting these pickoffs, but it's not really working right now, and we need to see some variation.
And dude, you got to stop it, man.
Oh,
no, this is... to yourself, why didn't my Freya do this? Oh. And Yunes goes in, gets a kick. That's Clockhood dead. I think you just back off. It doesn't look like they let run away that easily.
Oh, man.
It doesn't matter. That's going to be 4 dead. SRG running away with the game and claiming heads as they go. A full wipeout. 10 minutes, 40 seconds in.
Oh, boy.
A total disaster scenario for Vamos. This is basically the GG. This is the fight that SRG wins, and after that, they just take the game. This is that turnaround.
This is that championship game. This is the trophy lift fight.
The stakes are never higher, and I really don't know how Vamos turns it around.
I think it's over the moment that Supa got solo queue and they still took this fight.
Yeah, the hard part is that the composition doesn't necessarily need to fight the traditional front-to-back style. Natco needs to be able to have enough space to get into the front line and then out of the front line, continuously do that to get the maximum amount of damage. What Vamos' comp is really good at is chasing you when you are low. The problem is that Slanger Red Giant, their first impact is so high. Look, he's going to turn this around. It's so high, it doesn't matter.
And the Cram is like 1v2ing. Well, they can't Stormy at the cost of Nako. Cram is still doing it.
Fight him under the tower. You can do it.
They seriously just cannot. Cram is outperforming. This is unfortunately a case of EXP lane diff. Supa is not playing to the level that Vamos needs him to, and unfortunately the rest of the team not really doing a good job either.
If he could all chat, he would all chat XP gap like right now.
I don't know if we want to go down this road. I feel like he's got a lot of things to say. Now they're going even deeper.
This could be where it ends. So Yums and that's Mega Cure already. ZK is dead for 30 seconds. They might have only one more chance. The guys, the knockout punch, not out. Nako on the run, this and this. The butt ends up going down. The Lord still hitting on the crystal. SRG not finding the angle to end the game. Just Jet Innocent should die here as Vamos mounts a last-ditch defense, and they will hang on.
Ooh, what a save, what a save.
That was close. Once again, error 404. Holding the team on his back, but they did do a good job there. The lift from Clockhood, especially into the tower, made a big difference, kept them far into the two-man blade surge, and then the knockout strikes. At the very least, when Vamos is able to fight together in their base, there is something they're still able to do, and that was a lot of good shutdowns.
Oh, look at this. Huge shutdowns in a matter of fact here. But in terms of the gold, it does even out just a little bit, which is great. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Now Vamos has an opportunity here. They're going to hit the 42k mark, which means that their carries will also have completed their main core items.
Now they're going to make an attempt on the Cram. Cram's going to get lifted back, and the 4-man gang squad Cram still survives in the end. And now you know Yums is fishing for something. A good taunt to break the combo, but Sakai calls it Barbell. AOG completing with. They will take care of the turret to secure a way back, but Nako does not find a way out, and Zkip dies again. SRG with the punish.
was a good attempt, honestly. They got close with it. If they just had a little bit more help, that could have been a kill on the Freya. But even then, maybe staying a little bit too long, a little bit too deep. Vamos now 2 members down. SRG pushing in.
It's going to be the final push, I'm not going to lie. The 5th trophy lays ahead. Wave coming in from mid and bottom. SRG deciding to play safe and systematic. They have an endgame angle, and that is going to be the Lord.
They get the Lord, they stick by it, they win this game, right? This is already the 2nd Lord of the game as well. It will give them damage reduction as long as they stand near it. And look at this split, they even have the flank angle ready to go.
Unless there's a hero play from Arrow 4-4 and the rest of Vamos, there is no chance. Yunus finds the kick, Arrow 4-4 disabled for a while, but he's straight into the back line. He's on both of the cores with Crab. Again, the silence of SRG. Going above and beyond to deliver the killing blow. Arrow 4-4 will come back to life and try to outplay this, but Innocent and Slick guys, they stand their ground. 3 dead for Vamos, and Crab is still holding them back.
I think this could be it. We could be looking at a bit of an angle right now. It's going to be a 3v2, and one of those is a tank.
Yeah, the ZK is going to revitalize to keep himself up. Sapat desperately trying to clear the wave. He needs to buy time for his team to come back. 5 seconds for Kwakun. Sapat and ZK goes down. SRG on the crystal. A dynasty built to last forever as the Langor Red Giants get their 5th trophy and lights up the 5th star. One after another. Back to back to back to back champions.
The legacy continues. The drive, the title, the position, the glory remains as the Selangor Red Giants once again proves to the world that they are the kings of Malaysia.
A difficult loss there for Vamos, but even they know, you can see it on their faces. They understand. They got outclassed this time, and there's a lot to learn. I'm still happy that this matchup had still happened. I'm happy that Vamos is coming along with SRG, for there's so much for these younglings to learn at a true international.
You are looking at the new generation of Vamos. It's a tough road ahead, but I think we're in safe hands.
It's an important wake-up call. It's something that had to happen, but that's going to be all from us. Thanks for joining us on the English broadcast. We'll throw it over to host to close out the season.
Congratulations to Selangor Red Giants! But of course, tidak lupa juga kepada Team Vamos. Tahniah kerana berjaya ke MSC, the Esports World Cup 2026. We will see you there. And Selangor Red Giants, gather around your immortal cup. Champions, you may now lift your immortal cup. With a count of 3, 2, 1. Selangor Red Giants!
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, inilah dia juara MPL Malaysia musim yang ke-17, Selangor Red Giants! Melalui pelbagai cabaran dan kirim mereka buktikan 5 kali juara back to back to back to back to back. Selangor Red Giant Rose.
Yes, Poji. 5 peat champions, and once again they are heading back to MSC, but this time in Paris. Will they do justice once again?
Saya rasa teruja Rose sebab kita melihat satu lagi sejarah tercipta. Belum pernah ada lagi pasukan MPL Malaysia buktikan mereka mampu lakukan kejayaan demi kejayaan setiap musim.
Betul tu, Poji. And I rasa the boys pun sudah bersedia untuk menerima award-award untuk hari ini.
Betul, maka dengan itu kami ingin menjemput Crystal Tan, Head of Market Esports at Moonpon Malaysia, dan juga Julius C, CEO of Ferry, ke atas pentas bagi menyampaikan Perry Medal and Ring. Dipersilakan. Maka juara akan menerima champion ring dan medal yang ditempa khas oleh Perry.
Yes, Poji. Sekarang satu tangan Coach Art dah boleh macam penuhkan semua cincin dah.
Jadi Thanos.
Yes, dah jadi Thanos dah. The Infinity Stones have been completed.
Oh my God. Tapi Rose, ini satu benda yang saya rasa amat puas untuk kita lihat kerana mereka dah pun berusaha bersungguh-sungguh dan mereka buktikan mereka yang terkuat sekarang ini di MPL Malaysia.
Coach Arcadia next. And next, Analyst Winter. Innocent. Yooms. Stormy. Sakai's. Cram. And of course, Udi!
Jadi tahniah sekali lagi kepada pemenang. Jadi kita ingin merakamkan momen yang berbahagia ini dengan pengambilan gambar yang bagi saya cukup ikonik.
Yes, mari kita stand in a straight line and of course look at the cameras in front. All the fans, all the medias are ready.
Jadi pada masa yang sama juga saya ingin berterima kasih kepada Crystal Tan dan Julius C atas penyampaian hadiah kepada juara kita.
Flex your rings, guys. Sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Mr. Julius C dan juga Miss Crystal Tan.
And of course, Rose, seperti yang kita tahu, bila ada pemenang akan ada champion interview.
Yes. Mari kita mulakan dengan Coach Arcadia. Coach Arcadia, congratulations once again. The trophy is yours, but we all know that the journey is far from over. How confident are you with SRG heading into MSC this year?
First of all, I think this season is one of the seasons that we will never forget. Going to the international stage, we're going to take all the learnings that we had from this season and even in the past international stages that we did. So we are very confident that we are improving. Actually, this is not yet our peak. We believe that every day is always a day that we can always improve as long as we stay hungry, stay humble, and we surely can we can try to reclaim our title again.
Wow, reclaiming the throne in MSC. And of course, Coach Ark, like you've mentioned, this season is definitely one for the books, a very difficult one to forget. Is there anything perhaps that you'd like to say to your teammates?
I think the one that I really want to give shout out is I want to give a huge shout out to Uni because without him, trust me everyone, we will not be a champion without him. Because he stepped up so much when we needed him, whatever role, he was there. So we dedicate this win to him because he really matters a lot to us. So I hope that you guys can appreciate him. I love him. And then I think I want to say thank you also to all our sponsors, to all our bosses who supported us no matter what journey we had in this regular season. It was a tough season. And like was said, this is a season of accountability, season of learnings, and we'll definitely take everything that we learned from this season. And then, to all the fans, thank you so much because you made us strong. You made us believe that we can still defend our title. whatever, let's say that you are a fan from before MSC, let's say you are a fan after MSC, let's say you are a fan from today, we all love you. Your support is what matters. So thank you so much, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Coach Art. You know, biasanya di winners interview kita tak interview player sangat. Tapi I think it's just right. Kita minta kata-kata daripada Uni. Uni, is there anything yang you nak cakap lepas heartful message daripada Coach Art? Anything yang you nak cakap dekat your team?
Apa?
Anything yang you nak cakap dekat your team?
Untuk tim saya, thank you so much lah sebab dah gendong saya selama ni sampai ke titik ni lah. Saya nak cakap terima kasih sangat-sangat untuk tim saya and family semua.
Alright, Ozra Vicky. Vicky, apa yang you nak cakap kepada semua penyokong-penyokong SRG yang dah pun menyokong daripada hari pertama Selangor Red Giant tu dah wujud sampai ke hari ini dan terutamanya kepada semua yang akan menyokong you guys nanti dekat MSC EWC.
For all the fans, I think this season will be something that we will remember for a long time because this season, although we win a grand final in the 4-0, it was never as easy, it was never as smooth because without your support, guys, without you guys fighting for us, you guys supporting us when we are losing, when we are winning, you guys have always been there. So really thank you guys for supporting us. And then like same as Arcadia, I really want to shout out to Uni as well because Uni was really impactful for us for this season. Yeah.
Terima kasih Ozra Becky dan Rose. Sebenarnya tak sempurna setiap grand final tanpa adanya pengumuman Final MVP.
Betul tu. So untuk menyampaikan hadiah kepada Finals MVP, kita ingin menjemput Dinesh Sanjay, Head of Experiential Marketing and Sponsorships daripada Salcom DG untuk menyampaikan Finals MVP belt. So Stadium Juara, siapakah Finals MVP anda? Finals MVP of MPL Malaysia Season 17 goes to... Congratulations, Yums! Yums akan menerima MVP Champions Belt daripada Salcom DG alongside with his trophy dan juga mock check.
Ini satu kejayaan yang besar sebenarnya, Rose, bila kita melihat Yums. Dia dah buktikan daripada awal regular season dia jadi MVP, dia jadi Dream Team Roamer dan kali ini dia menjadi Final MVP untuk kita punya Grand Final.
Betul tu, Poji. And of course, terima kasih kepada Mr. Dinesh for giving away his award. And now it is time to interview kita punya FMVP.
Mana Yums?
Mana Yums? Itu dia, Yums. How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Yeah, happy. Of course.
Now, Yums, bila musim bermula, adakah you expected untuk jadi here sekarang ni, become the FMVP of the Grand Finals?
Saya rasa expect kot.
Wow! Confidence! Kenapa you expected to be Finals MVP?
Ada secret dia lah.
Jadi Yums, adakah Yums rasa ini adalah memang dah the peak of the performance untuk diri sendiri ataupun you boleh pergi jauh lagi gempak lagi?
Saya rasa saya dengan tim boleh pergi jauh lagi kot. Ini adalah starting je untuk kita. So, we will do more better at the MSC.
Now Yums, ramai sangat yang support Yums di Stadium Juara and I'm pretty sure dekat rumah juga. Is there anything yang you nak cakap dekat your fans and those that you supported your journey?
Thank you everyone yang support saya semua, support SRG. Thank you semua.
Jadi juara kita dah pun interview Rose. Final MVP pun kita dah interview juga. Maka sebelum kita leave the Immortal Cup kali kedua, kita nak tengok satu video istimewa untuk mereka. Maka jom kita tengok sama-sama.
Impian setiap pemain bermula di atas dream stage. Tetapi bukan semua impian akan menjadi kenyataan. Walaupun banyak yang telah dikorbankan, itulah harga yang perlu dibayar untuk menjadi yang terbaik dalam kalangan yang terbaik. Dalam pertempuran antara dua wakil Malaysia MSC, hanya satu akan berdiri sebagai juara pertama era baharu ini.
5 musim berturut-turut dengan 5 pemain yang sama. Kami tidak pernah kehilangan arah dan bagi saya ia satu keajaiban.
Bersama kita juara, membanggakan negara. Kita kawan pentas dunia, Wira Arena. Bangkit bersama kita juara, membanggakan.
Sekarang kita akan lift the Immortal Cup for the second time. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, once again, our champions of MPL Malaysia, season 17, Selangor Red Giants!
Jadi buat kali terakhir sebelum kita menutup tirai musim ini, kita akan berikan hadiah kepada anda semua yang tengah menonton MPL Malaysia Grand Final Playoff ini. Anda boleh scan QR code dan juga redeem code ini dekat dalam Mobile Legend Bank dekat telefon anda tu sekarang.
Betul tu Puji, and now juara telah kita ketahui.
Kedua-duanya akan ke MSCWC Paris.
Betul tu. Sekarang ini adalah masa untuk rakyat Malaysia sokong kedua-dua wakil kita, Team Vamos dan juga Selangor Red Giants di EWC 2026. For the last time untuk musim ini, nama saya Rose.
Dan nama saya Poji.
And I will see you at the MSC 2026 in